Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
Star Wars night under the two suns of Tatooine, like Anakin Skywalker in a land speeder. We're off to Chase Field. A.J. Pollock Star Wars bobblehead night. The first 20,000 fans getting their collectible Star Wars likeness of the Diamondbacks Jedi All-Star. Oh, they're all over the place here. Luke and Leia, the whole gang, the D-backs and the Giants. These are the teams you're looking for here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. You know the drill. Steve and Bob along the way. The Diamondbacks and the Giants. Second of a three-game series here tonight. Diamondbacks last night had a chance to take the opener. They had the lead late, but let it get away. Bob, if you're going to beat teams like the Giants, you have to execute, and the Diamondbacks last night just didn't.
Yeah, Chip Hale said he didn't think it was a hangover from the All-Star break, but it certainly appeared like the team wasn't ready to play. Nick Ahmed got thrown out at third base on a bad base-running play from second. A little later in the ball game, David Peralta strayed too far off the bag at third. He was picked off. Ground ball hit to Penny, threw it in the dirt to home plate. That allowed the winning run to score. There was a botched bunt play before that. Just a comedy of errors. Goldie didn't break up the double play right there. Just a lot of very uncharacteristic baseball that we're not used to seeing from the D-backs.
Well, we turn the page tonight. The pitching matchup, the veteran Jake Peavy for the Giants and Chase Anderson for the Diamondbacks. He has got to keep it in the ballpark tonight.
No question about it. Chase Anderson is all about fastball command to set up that really good straight changeup. Jake Peavy only making his fifth start of the season. He had two back in April, two recently since coming off the disabled list. But this is the story for Chase Anderson recently. 3 home runs through his first 13 starts of the season. Last 4, he's given up 9. Got to keep the ball in the yard.
Back-to-back home runs in the first inning in his last start over the weekend against the Mets at Citi Field. And the Oscar goes to Oscar Hernandez. His first big league start tonight behind the plate. More on that. And then it's first pitch, the Giants and the D-backs on Fox Sports Arizona. Brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box.
Welcome back to Chase Field. I'm Kate Longworth. It was a short turnaround for the Diamondbacks after their 5-hour extra inning loss to the Giants last night. But today is a new day as Arizona tries to snap its 4-game losing skid. It is Chase at Chase and a new face behind the dish as Oscar Hernandez gets his first major league start. A year ago, he was in low-A ball. Today, he's on the big league diamond.
Yesterday, I mean, I can't even sleep. I was like so excited, and then think about today, and then I would think about science, practicing science, everything. You know, this is another level, and then my family is really happy right now. When I told them, they were like, "Oh my gosh!" My mom was almost crying, my dad too, and then they're gonna watch the game from Venezuela. It's a big jump from low A. Now I'm in the big league. It's different levels, and then but. Like I told you, like I'm gonna challenge myself. I'm gonna work hard and then try to play more. You know.
It's Oscar night as the D-backs roll out the red carpet for the 22-year-old rising star, and they're trying to fight to get back in the win column. Peralta, Pollock were a 1-2 punch last night. Today the lineup a little different, but hoping for the same production and then some as the D-backs go after the win.
The Giants this year, but needing tonight to return to that winning form after dropping last night's 5-hour, 11-minute marathon. Rookie catcher Oscar Hernandez making his first big league start behind the plate. In the second of this 3-game series, it's an important one for the Diamondbacks to begin the season's second half against the team just ahead of them in the NL West, the San Francisco Giants.
And you got to believe, even in last night's ball game, if the Diamondbacks had played the way they did throughout most of the first half, that would have been a win for the hometown boys. But as we documented in the open of the show, just a lot of mental mistakes, a lot of physical mistakes. Just didn't seem like the same team we saw a week ago.
So we turn to our Arizona forward starting pitcher Chase Anderson. Mixed results the last 4 starts. The command has not been what it was earlier this year. The home runs have been an issue, and so has the first inning. Here's Chip Hale on Chase Anderson's first inning woes.
And that's the big wonder in baseball. I mean, you notice Tom Glavine had an awful first inning ERA. I mean, it's just something that happens to pitchers is that first inning. We know on the offensive side, hey, this guy has a hard time in the first inning. Let's make hay here and put ourselves up. So it's just a tough thing. Each pitcher has to figure out how he can get the most ready in that first inning.
Well, the numbers on Chase, the ERA now at 3.91. That's gone up 1 full run in the last month alone. The home runs have been the culprit. He has given up 9 homers in his last 4 starts.
And when you consider the fact Chase Anderson has had 11 starts this year decided by 1 run, and you never know when that run's going to score, in the first inning or your last pitch if you're outing.
Well, a good start there. Strike 1 to Angel Pagan. Jim Reynolds, a World Series umpire last year, behind the plate tonight. Pagan 269 on the year and still without a home run this season. That's in the seats, and Chase is quickly ahead 0-2. Pagan 1 for 6 last night, had a double to lead off the 11th inning. A big crowd here on a Saturday evening in downtown Phoenix.
We've seen Angel Pagan take some unusual lines to balls, especially those close to the barrier out there in center field and left center field. And we're being told he's still bothered by that knee. It just isn't good, and it really bothers him when he tries to stop quickly, which you need to do when you get close to that fence.
Yeah, he has not looked great in center field. It's a sore left knee. He's also at times had to play with a brace on the right knee, so the wheels are a little gimpy these days for Angel Pagan.
I know a guy.
A knee guy?
Yeah.
The voice
several
of
knee guys.
And several knees. That one slapped the other way for a base hit in front of David Peralta, and Pagan's aboard to lead it off for Bruce Bochy's San Francisco Giants, the lineup for the defending champs.
Boch doesn't play around a lot with this lineup. Just a couple of small changes tonight. We've seen Angel Pagan. He'll be out in center field. Joe Panik at second base. Matt Duffy at third. Buster Posey moves out to first base tonight. Hunter Pence in right field. Brandon Crawford at shortstop. Brandon Belt, last night's first baseman, moves out to left field with Andrew Susac doing the catching for right-hander Jake Peavy.
Well, here is Joe Panik, top 10 in the National League in hitting at .311. And he laces one out to center. Here comes AJ. He won't get there. It drops in front. And the first 2 have reached against Chase Anderson, and this is exactly what Chip Hale was talking about. The defense tonight around the Diamondback right-hander.
We've seen David Peralta in left field. We've seen A.J. Pollock in center. Ender Inciarte with his first start back off the disabled list. He'll be in right field for Yasmani Tomas tonight. It'll be Lamb, Ahmed, Owings, and Goldschmidt third to first across the infield, with Oscar Hernandez making his major league debut as a starting player behind the dish for right-hander Chase Anderson.
The first overall pick in the Rule 5 draft last December, taken off the roster of the Tampa Bay Rays. So 2 on, nobody out for Matt Duffy. Chase Anderson in immediate trouble. And there's a strike 0-1. Duffy 297 and 8 home runs. He is really feeling it at the plate right now. He's got 10 hits in his last 22 at bats. That Chase Anderson was looking for. Quickly 2 down.
You love the double play. Not so crazy about the solid contact once again by Matt Duffy. All 3 Giants hitters so far in the ballgame have hit it right on the button, but this one turns into a 6-4 double play as Pagan strayed too far off the bag.
So 2 down. You've got Panik still at first, and here's Buster Posey. He swings at the first pitch, but lifts it in the seats foul. Buster .313 and leading the Giants in home runs and RBIs.
Giants already have twice as many hits as they had against Chase Anderson last time they faced him. He went 7 innings of no-hit ball before Buster Posey lined a single off his leg.
That was his first ever appearance against the Giants. June 12th at AT&T Park. looking for that magic formula with the help of a rookie catcher here, getting the pitches from Glenn Sherlock, the bench coach, to try and get through this first inning. One hop to Owens. They go the short way for the force on Paddock, and Chase is out of the first to Chase. A little sloppy there, but they get the job done. We are underway on Star Wars Night in downtown Phoenix. In nearly 2 months, so the Diamondbacks need a win tonight to snap that streak and avoid losing their 10th straight series to the Giants here at Chase Field. And your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for San Francisco, 34-year-old right-hander Jake Peavy. He's been around for a long time, but you know what? So is Mark Grace.
He doesn't throw as hard as he used to, but he's still one of the ultimate competitors. If you watch him out there, you know, he's always swearing at himself. He's always, you know, getting upset with himself, and you know, he's breathing fire. In order to beat him, you have to not only compete with him, but you have to compete better than him.
And Matt Duffy will come well in on the grass at third as Ender Inciarte back in the starting lineup for the Diamondbacks leads it off, and there's ball one. Look at the Giants defensively with Ender back in the leadoff spot. The numbers on Peavy: 2 starts in April, 2 in July. He missed about 10 weeks in between with the lower back and hip discomfort, but so far this year 0-4 in 4 starts.
And you heard Mark Grace say that his velocity is not quite what he used to be. For only the second time in his lengthy career, his average fastball velocity is under 90 miles an hour this year.
1-1 headed toward the gap in left center. Belts out there, and he runs it down. Lineup for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks.
Good to see Ender Inciarte back at the top of the order. He'll be playing right field tonight with A.J. Pollock in center field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. David Peralta out in left field. Chris Owings at second. Jake Lamb at third. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Oscar Hernandez getting his first start in the big leagues behind the plate. And right-hander Chase Anderson on the mound.
Star Wars night. That's troubling. A.J. Pollock Star Wars bobblehead for his 20,000 D-backs fans here with us tonight. Got their A.J. souvenir bobblehead from Cox Communications, Wellington Castillo, and Oscar Hernandez getting together in the kids' first start in the big leagues. What a day for him.
What a day for A.J. Pollock. If history holds true on his bobblehead night, since 2001, Diamondbacks position players have hit .387 with 6 homers and 19 driven in on their bobblehead day.
We'll take that tonight. Had doubles in his first 2 at-bats last night. A chopper to third. Duffy charges. He's got quick hands down there, and Posey with a nice scoop at first. They retire Pollock. Matt Duffy, a former shortstop, and he looked like one there.
Yeah, caught in between just a little bit on that chopper down to third base, but got to it in good shape. rid of the ball quickly, and Buster Posey helped him out over there at first base. We've seen Brandon Belt in left, Angel Pagan in center, Hunter Pence out in right field. It'll be Duffy and Crawford on the left side of the infield, Panic and Posey on the right side. Andrew Susac doing the catching for Jake Peavy.
Here's Goldie. That's to the Gubna. Watch out. Just to our right. Jeff Munn cowering under the table. No, I'm just kidding. Goldie leading the National League in hitting and leading the majors in RBIs. Drills it down the left field line, but foul. And Goldie and A.J. Pollock, the D-backs all-star dynamic duo, now tied for the league lead in runs scored. Goldie at 343, the RBI 72, tops in the big leagues. High pop-up, very shallow right center. Panic wants it. And it's a 9-pitch 1-2-3 first for the veteran Jake Peavy. No score at Chase Field.
So this day in Major League Baseball history, July 18th, 1970, Willie Mays bounced one through the left side against the Montreal Expos for hit number 3,000. That was a 10-1 Giants win over the Expos in that ball game. They weren't all line drives in the gap.
It seems like every milestone hit in the 70s came against the Montreal Expos. Hunter Pence leads off the second. It was just that kind of a decade for him. Pence has played in only 24 games for the Giants this year, 296 and 4 homers. He got number 4 last night. A 2-run shot with 2 outs in the 7th off Enrique Burgos that tied it up 5-5, and we wound up playing 5 more innings after that. 5 hours and 11 minutes last night. Chase is behind 2 balls and a strike. Three and 1. He missed with that one. Looked like Hunter Pence was waiting for Jim Reynolds to say strike 2, but he said ball 4 instead.
He was probably just asking Jim Reynolds, what are the keys to the ball game tonight? Brought to you by Valley Honda.
There you go.
May the forks be with you on ASU night here at Chase Field. And after a 5-hour and 11-minute ball game last night, we'd like to be home for dinner tonight.
There are some sights to be seen in the ballpark today.
Got that right.
The Diamondback Nation really bought in on Star Wars night. Some tremendous Star Wars looks all over the ballpark. Here's one of last night's heroes, Brandon Crawford. Hacks at the first pitch and fouls it back here. Crawford, 267. He is second on the Giants in both homers and RBIs, behind only Buster Posey, and leads all major league shortstops in runs batted in.
He has a 9-game hitting streak here at Chase Field. He's had 18 base hits in those 9 games, a .486 batting average with 7 extra base hits.
Bruce Bochy was just marveling about Crawford's defensive plays last night. The 2 balls in particular that he got outs on, grounders right to him at third base. Those 6-5 putouts, Diamondbacks had 2 of them last night. And the ability of Crawford to sort of see the entire field and really 2 different sides of the same field all at the same time.
That's a great way to put it. Great court awareness, to steal a basketball term. He knows where everybody on the field is at all times, which is why he can make plays like he made last night.
I mean, to be able from your shortstop spot to feel the ball coming at you hard, keep an eye on third, and at the same time watch that runner coming up the first base line. And he just makes it look so easy.
Very instinctive player. I mean, he's had to work very hard mechanically on his footwork and on his throwing arm and all the other things you need to do well to be a good big league shortstop, but he just has tremendous baseball instincts.
And plus at the plate last night, 3 for 6 with a pair of doubles, and scored what turned out to be the winning run for the Giants in the 12th inning. 2-2.
I don't know about you, partner, but I'm kind of hoping the Giants try to run tonight on the young catcher behind the plate. I want to see Oscar Hernandez unleash a few throws down there to second base. He's been really good in his minor league career. 2012 he threw out 38%. In 13 he threw out 57%, and last season in Bowling Green threw out 41%.
The Diamondbacks knew what they were doing when they went after Oscar Hernandez with that first pick in the Rule 5 draft. They got him from the Rays system, and Tony La Russa all spring long, and this is something you don't take lightly from Tony, was making the Yadier Molina comparison a number of times. They are very high on this young man behind the plate. And there's a lot of the coaches who'll tell you he's major league ready defensively right now. And keep in mind that this is a young man who prior to this year had never played above the level of A ball as a professional. But given the unique circumstances of the Rule 5 draft, here he is.
His coaches may believe in him, the front office may believe in him, his teammates may believe in him. Until he's comfortable and feels like he belongs, it's going to be a struggle. I'm sure his mind's going a million miles an hour.
Hunter Pence takes off on the 3-2 pitch. Goldie has only 1 play. And Pence moves along. They get Crawford at first for the first out here in the second. What's it like to be a rookie in the big leagues catching your very first game? Is there a way to describe it?
I can't speak for Oscar Hernandez. He's a lot more accomplished at this stage of his career than I was when I got to the big leagues. But there's just so many things running through your mind. You're looking at the hitter at the plate. Okay, Brandon Belt. What do we talk about with Belt? Where are we going to pitch him? What kind of sequence? You look in the on-deck circle. You see Andrew Susac standing over there. It just all kind of snowballs on you, and seems like everything is moving so quickly you don't have enough time to really think about anything. But it settles in. You get back there, the first foul tip off the mask, you'll realize, hey, this is the same thing I have done everywhere I've ever played in my 6 minor league seasons. It's still 60 feet 6 inches to the mound. Games played exactly the same way, and once he believes he can do this, he will be a really good defensive catcher.
0-1 to Brandon Belt. Pence at second with 1 out. He's got Glenn Sherlock, Bob, in the dugout, I presume, calling the pitches. Or at least most of them anyway. We've seen Sherrill signal in the pitch a number of times. There's Oscar looking into the dugout, and there's Glenn Sherlock signaling in the pitch. I imagine that's got to be at least some relief for him.
I would think so. Take some of the pressure off of him, at least for the first couple of games that he plays, as he gets used to this pitching staff. We saw Jared Saltalamacchia go through it. We saw Wellington Castillo go through it, and Oscar Hernandez, granted he's a rookie, but He's trying to get up to speed as quickly as possible with what pitches his guys like to throw in situations. What are the signs that my pitcher's losing it a little bit? Is he working too quickly? Is he working too slowly? All those are things that come with more experience catching the same pitchers over and over again.
A ball and a strike to Belt. Fastball right by him, up and away, and it's 1-2. Belt had a quiet night last night, 1 for 6 with a single. He struck out twice.
I'm not a big fan of that right hand of Oscar Hernandez, just kind of dangling out there in space in front of his body. Now, granted, there is a runner on at second base, and you want to be in a good position to quickly throw if necessary, but I'd really like to see him hide that hand behind the glove or behind his back.
Just missed with a fastball inside, and it's 2-2. You're worried about maybe getting hit with a foul ball or something?
Foul tip, yeah. Occupational hazard.
That old line that Joe Garagiola always had about two catchers meeting each other.
Yeah. They shake hands with each other, and you have to use a crowbar to pry them apart. Knuckles, fingers going every direction.
Well, he's full on Belt now, 3-2 after Crawford worked the count full. Susak, the catcher, is on deck. Chase right now 15 strikes and 12 balls, not very efficient out there. Got him. Brandon Belt waves at that one. Went away from the fastball there, and it worked out.
Well, Brandon Belt has proven to me anyway, and certainly to the Diamondbacks, he's a good fastball hitter from the middle of the plate in. The more off-speed pitches you can throw him, especially middle of the plate away, better chance you have of getting him out.
Well, Chase had 2 on and nobody out in the first. He's trying to strand that leadoff walk here in the second. A visit from Chip Hale. And you keep in mind you've got the pitcher Peavy on deck and first base open.
I'm sure that's the majority of this conversation out there right now with the base open. You know, with a veteran pitcher like a Jake Peavy, I mean, Bruce Bochy wouldn't consider running out to the mound. With 2 outs and a runner at second base and a base open, do you want to walk this guy? Do you want to pitch to him? But Chase Anderson and the rookie catcher Oscar Hernandez, you want to kind of take it under advisement, make sure they know exactly what it is they're going to try to do out there.
Part of the gig if you're Chip Hale and these Diamondbacks, there's no question. So
teaching moments.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. A few last night, in fact. Susak getting the start behind the plate, 236 and 3 homers. He struck out in a pinch hit appearance in the 10th inning last night, and it's just 3 for his last 30 at the plate. You're hoping that Chase would be able to settle into a quick rhythm early in the ball game, but he has really had to labor here to get the first 5 outs and needs 1 more here.
Okay, one thing that really helped me in these kind of situations as a young catcher is having the pitcher, rather than shake his head no and you go through a whole nother set of signs, he shakes his head no, you have to go through another set of signs, just have the pitcher add and subtract.
What does that mean?
Well, for example, let's say Chase Anderson throws a 1-2-4, which is fastball, curveball, changeup. Well, now with a runner at second, you've got to give a sequence of signs so that runner at second won't relay anything. So if I hang down the sign for a fastball, a 1, and the pitcher adds 1 by rubbing across his shirt with his glove, that means he wants to go to a curveball. If I call for a fastball and he wants to go to a changeup, he'll add 2. With 1-2-4.
Now, can you get away with that you got a catcher back there in his first big league ball game?
Well, I think it's easier to do it that way. You know what sign you put down, and that pitcher either adds by rubbing on his shirt or subtracts by rubbing on his leg to get to the pitch that he wants to throw. It just speeds the game up and keeps Chase in a better rhythm than standing out there shaking his head no.
As we've seen Chase a number of times already look for the sign, step off, start the whole process over again, just what you were talking about.
Got one of those cheat sheets on his wristband there.
If he calls for the flex option, you know you're in trouble. Chase already at 32 pitches, only 18 for strikes. 2-2 to Susac. Hunter Pence, the runner at second, 2 down. This is upstairs, and it's another full count, the third full count consecutively here for Chase Anderson in this inning. A lot of pitches already.
That's what got to Robbie Ray in the ball game last night. He was actually pitching extremely well in the game last night, but the pitch count really got elevated. A lot of deep counts, a lot of foul balls once again. Forced Robbie to come out after 5 innings.
And here we go again. He's got to step off and start over and go through the whole thing. This is getting a little out of hand here.
Yeah, it is. Generally, and I can't speak for the Diamondbacks, but generally with the runner at second base, it's one of the numbers in the sequence. First sign after 2, first sign after 3, first sign after 1, second sign, something that's relatively simple. And if the pitcher shakes off that first one, generally it's the first sign the catcher hangs down. Now he'll still give a sequence of signs, but generally after a shake off, you go right to the first sign after that.
3-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Well, it took a while, but he got them. Back-to-back strikeouts. They strand the leadoff walk. Still scoreless on Star Wars night with a young Jedi behind the plate. A powwow in the dugout.
Yeah, I mean, you thought you had everything covered going into the ball game, but you know, Chase Anderson's got some very specific ideas of certain pitches he wants to throw in certain counts, and for the young catcher, it's you don't know anything about Chase Anderson, so it's all part of the learning process. A pat on the back there, they'll go back out and get after it again next inning.
How much of that do you think was Pence being on the bag at second complicating the whole process?
That was all about Hunter Pence being on the bag at second. No runner at second base. You just hang down one sign. If he shakes off, you go to the next sign. Very, very simple. But when you have to give a sequence of signs, that's what really slows the process.
So now David Peralta in the cleanup spot tonight with Yasmani Tomas getting the night off. 272 and 8 home runs. And he has really been crushing it lately. No player in the major leagues has more extra base hits this month than David Peralta. 3 hits last night, including 2 triples. Heading for another one here. Pagano's bad news. It gets behind him, and the freight train is on the tracks. Here we go. Heading a good illustration, Bob, of what you were talking about. Pagan a little gimpy out there in center.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Nothing gimpy about David Peralta running the bases. That ball slicing away from Pagan the entire way. Took a shallow line, has to just chase it back to the fence. 3 triples in his last 6 at-bats.
He now has the National League lead with 7 triples on the season. The appeal at first. He touched the bag, says Paul Nart, the crew chief down there. So Peralta 90 feet away with nobody out to open up the second. And here's Chris Owings. CO in the 5 spot tonight for Chip Hale. A little different look to this lineup. All the appeals have been made. They're still barking from that giant dugout. They want one more. And you can hear Paul Nart telling Dave McKay he did indeed step off before he threw over, so that's not a balk call. But the Giants wanted just to make double sure that there was the appeal at first. Take a look. Peralta coming around first.
Oh, yeah, he's all over it.
Not even close. So here's Owings. It goes through Duffy, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Well, Chris Owings, his 3rd home run of the year last night. He had a couple of hits, and he drives in the game's first run. Olay.
Yeah, just a brutal misplay down there by Duffy. The ball was hit very hard. Didn't have a lot of time to react, but he wasn't even close to that ball.
They put a single and an RBI up on the board. Brings up Jake Lamb. I know it was hit hard, but
it's big leagues.
Right at him.
CO definitely taking. The Diamondbacks love to take that early lead.
Those are the ones that you hesitate to write down in pen. We'll see what happens. 277 and 2 homers for Jake. He singled and walked last night. He was 1 for 5. Jake Lamb last night also struck out 3 times. That's been a recurring theme here lately. Jake has now punched out 11 times in his last 22 at bats. So looking for more consistent contact up there. One or one. Jake Peavy hit hard by the D-backs in a start in San Francisco back in April. 4 runs, 8 hits. He lasted less than 4 innings, and that was his last start before he turned up on the DL with back and hip trouble. He was out almost 3 months. Manny Ramirez used to do that, and in the Red Sox dugout, it was equally troubling then.
Yes, indeed.
Rubbing it for luck. 2-1.
How do you think Adrian Beltre would take that?
He'd be running away in fear. It's like it's a bowling ball and you're looking for the holes.
Scalp massage.
There goes Owings. Lamb lifts it in the air high to left field. Belt is under it. CO will have to be back in the back at first.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Can you go down and ask them to stop?
Please stop.
How about these shoes on Nick Ahmed? This will give you something to look at. Nick's got he's really styling tonight.
You know, I noticed that the other day. I was watching a Pirates game, and Andrew McCutchen was wearing a pair of white shoes with a little bit of pirate gold trim on them. Boy, the fashion police used to really come down hard on that stuff.
One hopper at Crawford. He quickly turns it, and Paddock at second Turns it into a double play. A giant middle infield combo, one of the best in the business, but the Diamondbacks get a run. They lead it 1-0. Special nights coming up here at Chase Field. Saturday, July 25th, this one-of-a-kind Randy Johnson Hall of Fame bobblehead. And then Saturday, August 8th, Randy Johnson, number 51, jersey retirement and commemorative T-shirt giveaway to every fan in the ballpark. Get your tickets right now at dbacks.com, and that's where the 51 will go, August 8th. As we start the third inning with Jake Peavy leading off against Chase Anderson. And we were looking during the break at that Peavy appeal of the appeal, which is something you're not supposed to be able to do. First of all, he didn't look like he came set before he stepped off. You've got a runner on third here, keep in mind. So that might have been a balk. And also, once you appeal, it's over, but they appealed twice.
And the second appeal basically was a pickoff to an unoccupied base, which is a balk. Very confusing right there. The way I always heard it was, if you want to appeal a play, you can do it while the ball is still in play. But once timeout is called anywhere on the field, you have to get on the rubber, get your sign from the catcher, come up to a complete set position, then break contact with the rubber.
Peavy shoots it the other way down the right field line. Cincinnati in the corner has it. Peavy's all hung up over there. And he just does safely get back to the bag at first. He was running hard for a second, then changed his mind, and it was almost too late.
Well, Jake Peavy will tell you he was trying to go to the opposite field right there. Whatever. Nice play by Ender Inciarte right up against the barrier. Gets it quickly back to Chris Owings, and they nearly had Peavy taking too big of a turn around first base.
And we don't want to make too big a deal out of the appeal play because the runner Peralta scored anyway on the Owings RBI single, but that's something you don't often see. The appeal of the appeal. Here's Pagan, who singled his first time. Pops the first pitch up, coming at you, BB. Just missed. Guard that equipment, that's all we ask.
Got this new HD monitor up here. I'm told I should throw my body out of the booth if necessary.
Well, it is a nice camera.
It is nice.
0-1. That's by Jake Lamb and into left, a base hit. Well, the Giants so far have had traffic all around the bases around Chase Anderson all night long. Pagan 2 for 2.
Yeah, this is after the fact, but I kind of question the positioning of Jake Lamb a little bit. We've talked about Angel Pagan. He's not running well at all. He probably isn't going to try to bunt for a base hit, but Jake Lamb was playing in even with the baseline down there at third, and that ball just shot by him before he could even react down there. Another step or two deeper, he probably makes that play. An out with one runner on base.
Well, Anderson already at 40 pitches, just 24 for strikes, and here's Panik, who singled his first time up after he was 3 for 6 last night. And again, Chase goes to that off-speed and breaking stuff away from the fastball, gets a strike. And you need them against Panik, who starts the ball game tonight, third in the National League in hits. He's tucked in there right behind Goldie and just ahead of A.J. Pollock. Does it again, doubles up, 0-2.
Giants 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position so far tonight. Last night they were 2 for 19 with runners in scoring position, and neither one of the hits drove in a run. Buster Posey got a base hit with runners at first and second, but it was quickly to Yasmani Tomas in right field. The runners had to hold, and then Ryan Vogelsong put down a bunt that they couldn't get it out anywhere. That goes as a base hit with runners in scoring position, but nobody scored.
He strikes out Panik. 3 pitches, none of them fastballs. That's a good sequence there from Chase Anderson and Oscar Hernandez.
After the first one, you think to yourself, there's still a chance they might throw a second change up. But after the second one, you say, there's no way he's going to throw me 3 in a row. But he sure did.
Really mixing it up to get the out. So 1 away for Duffy, who lined into a double play his first time up. Star Wars night here at the ballpark. Chase has got to find a way to get some quick outs here and get more efficient, get a little deeper into this ball game. That one bit Duffy a bit, and it's 0-1. Duffy 3 for 7 last night. He doubled and scored a run, and has had multiple hits in 3 of his last 4 games for the Giants. Here we go again. A chance to run up to the draft room here at Chase Field. Oh, BB, we should be up there. Craft beers and bites. Good crowd in there tonight. Star Wars night. That looks like our booth most nights up here. Maybe in Harry's day, but not anymore. 0-1.
Hey!
Hi! Thank you. Base hit, he slaps it into right. They're going to have to stop Peavy at third. A break for the Diamondbacks. You got the pitcher out there as the lead base runner. So the Giants have the bases loaded with 1 out for Buster Posey.
One thing we've seen from the Giants this year, when we played the Giants this year, is Roberto Kelly down there at third base a little more cautious than Tim Flannery used to be as their third base coach. Remember many times Tim Flannery, as that runner came around third base, running side by side down the third baseline, trying to encourage the guy to get on the plate. Really a little more conservative down there, especially with Buster Posey and Hunter Pence due up to the plate.
And still just 1 out, so Peavy is the runner at third, Pagan at second, and Duffy at first. Posey hit into a fielder's choice his first time tonight. Fastball misses away, and it's 1-0. Posey last night caught all 12 innings behind the plate. He's at first base tonight. Last night 1 for 4. He singled, he walked, had an RBI sac fly. Bases full, 1 out. That's in there for a strike, 1-1. Posey, as recently as late June, was hitting under 290 for the year, but he's been on a tremendous run lately. He's hit safely in 15 of his last 16 games, and during that stretch is hitting nearly .420. That's in the seats, and Chase is ahead 1-2.
Bruce Bochy has 3 guys on his roster that have grounded into 10 double plays this year, and Buster Posey's one of them. Wishful thinking. Keep it down.
18 RBIs in his last 16 games, including 4 home runs. Big spot in the ball game right here for Chase Anderson.
Hit. Peavy scores. They will wave Pagan. The throw from Inciarte is through Hernandez.
Anderson backs it up. Posey's going to get second base, and the Giants have a 2-1 lead. They had a play at the plate, but they couldn't execute. And it's 2-1 San Francisco.
Well, we know Ender Inciarte has a strong throwing arm, but he needs to learn how to control it a little bit more. I mean, that's a tough short hop right at the edge of the grass there as that ball's coming into home plate. Took a high bounce on Oscar Hernandez. I'd really love to see him keep that throw down, bounce it out there between first base and home plate, and let that big first hop come to the catcher in a position where he can handle it.
They scored a single, 2 RBIs for Posey. They give an error to Inciarte on the throw, so it's a single, 2 runs batted in, and E9. So it's Duffy at third, Posey at second. Still only 1 out, and Hunter Pence is in the box. He walked his first time.
This has really got to stop. They've got to figure something out. Chase needs to call his own pitches out there on the mound and let Oscar Hernandez know what's coming rather than try to do it the other way around. It's just not working.
It's killing the rhythm for the pitcher out there, that's for sure. I mean, the base runners aren't helping at all, certainly, but there's no chance for Chase already at 50 pitches here. Only 32 strikes to find any kind of rhythm on the mound.
He's going to go on contact. We're not going to be able to throw him out.
I heard Chip Hale in the dugout. If Duffy at third is going home on contact, they have a chance for a play at the plate. If it's hit to a corner spot, and it's fouled back. Pence 3 hits last night, including a double and a home run. Back after missing 30 games with wrist tendonitis, and he has not missed a beat. 6 games back, 9 hits, 9 RBIs. Reaches down and pokes it foul. This was Hunter Pence, a 2-run shot with 2 outs in the 7th last night off Enrique Burgos that tied it up at 5.
Line drive variety home run out there just to the right of the RamTrucks.com pool area. Talking with Dwayne Kuiper, the fine Giants broadcaster, before the ball game today, and we were both in agreement. We've never seen a more unorthodox player than Hunter Pence.
Lamb gets Duffy back to the bag at third, and they get the out at first on Pence. Unorthodox is a good word to describe Hunter Pence in a whole bunch of ways.
There's not very many things that Hunter Pence does on a field that you would want to teach a young kid in Little League. You know, hey, if they hit the ball to you in the outfield, throw it sidearm all the way to third base. Hike your pants up to the middle of your thighs. There's Smoothie, Dwayne Kuiper. I mean, everything he does has evolved.
So here's Crawford.
For what works and what doesn't work for Hunter Pence.
He's doing.
Brandon Crawford. Second and third, 2 down. Crawford grounded out his first time up. Lines it to the gap. That drops in there. Duffy scores. Posey right behind, and it's 4-1 Giants.
have broken his bat. Almost sounded like a hollow sound when he made contact there. It looked like it was going to be a line drive in the gap and just got out there and dived. Hit it right out off the end of the bat. Dunked it in front of David Peralta.
Well, the Giants already with 7 hits in the ball game. It's become a 4-run San Francisco third. Still only 2 outs, and Brandon Belt is the hitter. Another tough one for Chase Anderson. Trying to figure out how to get him right. It's been a tough one, considering all the traffic around the bases against him right from the get-go. The first 2 Giant hitters in the ball game had singles. And he says his arm feels good. He's just not locating. And he has to find a way, he says, to get going from the get-go and make better quality pitches. Take what he does in his pregame bullpen session into the game. Getting ready to go beforehand and be locked in from the first pitch. That has not been the case. A high fly ball to left backs up Peralta. He's got room in front of the track, and the inning finally ends. But the Giants get 4. They lead it 4-1.
Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Oregano's Pizza Bistro, your neighborhood pizza joint. We are athletic supporters. And by Card Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. Back home in Arizona, bottom third, and the first major league at bat for rookie catcher Oscar Hernandez. It'll come against the veteran Jake Peavy. Hacks at the first pitch and hits it off the bag. That's a fair ball. Posey's there to collect it. 1 pitch, 1 out for Oscar Hernandez, who just turned 22 years old earlier this month. First one's out of the way.
Well, it may not be pretty, but it's memorable. He'll never forget that at bat as long as he lives.
Peavy, quite a contrast to Chase Anderson. He's only thrown 19 pitches in the ball game. And here is Chase. He's been thinking about that all night long, among other things.
You know, I can certainly sympathize with what Oscar Hernandez is going through. I think I've told the story in the past, but one of my first starts in the major leagues, I was catching a veteran pitcher by the name of Doyle Alexander.
Oh, sure.
Very tail end of his career, and Doyle was one of these guys. He'd throw a sinker, a cutter, a four-seamer, a big curveball, a shorter curveball, a slider, 2 different changeups. And I went down to the bullpen to warm him up before the ball game. Everything was smooth, you know. But in the bullpen, they tell you what's coming. I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to throw a straight fastball. I'm going to throw a sinking fastball as Chase Anderson goes down on strikes. Well, as we're walking in from the bullpen to the dugout at Candlestick Park, Doyle Alexander sauntered over beside me and said, with a runner at second, we're going to use 2-5 pumps. I'll add above the waist and subtract below the waist. And turned around and walked away from me. It was like when you were doing the open tonight. I had no idea what he was talking about. What 2-5 pump, add and subtract? What is that? So I asked our catching instructor, you know, he said something about 2-5 pumps, but after that, I don't remember anything.
It's all a blur.
Yeah, and I got out there behind home plate, and sure enough, we get a runner at second base, and I honestly just started putting down fingers until he shook his head yes. I had no idea what was coming. Fortunately, at that stage of his career, he didn't throw hard enough to get it by me, and I felt like a goalie more than a catcher. I was just back there trying to stop everything from hitting the umpire.
Yeah, he was a real kitchen sink guy, Doyle Alexander.
Everything.
0-1 on Ender and Ciarte back in the starting lineup.
But then, you know, you catch a few more games. You catch Doyle Alexander a few more times. In the case of Oscar Hernandez, he'll be behind the plate again at some point in the future for Chase Anderson. And as much of an effort as this has been tonight just to get through the first 3 innings of this ball game, it'll become second nature. He won't even think twice about it anymore. But right now, he can't stop thinking about it.
And Ciarte slaps it into the gap in left center. Belt is in front of it. And Ender has a base hit. Well, he was back last night after missing 24 games with that right hamstring injury, but grounded out as a pinch hitter against Sergio Romo in the 8th inning. And here he's got a 2-out single against Jake Peavy. It's the 3rd hit for the Diamondbacks. Here's A.J. Pollock. A.J. grounded out his first time up. Doyle Alexander, if I recall, is also a big, tall, lanky guy with a goofy delivery, right-hander.
Oh, yeah. Elbows and kneecaps. Probably best known for the fact he was traded for John Smoltz, a young prospect pitcher. That worked out pretty good for the Braves.
Doyle pitched on some of those real good Blue Jays teams in the mid-'80s. Peavy ahead of Pollock 0-2. Peavy's a lot like that. He's a kitchen sink guy. He'll cut it, sink it, slide it, the whole thing. Got a big bag of tricks out there. '14th season in the big leagues. Jake Peavy, and back in the NL West. He's a Padre for 8 seasons, the Cy Young winner in '07.
One of the statistical websites that we go to gather information when teams come into town has a 4-seamer, a sinker, a change, a slider, a curve, a cutter, a split, and a slow curve.
You got that? Go get him. Quite a resume. He's picked up a couple of World Series rings along the way as well in Boston and in San Francisco. It's been kind of a good luck charm the last 2 years. A mid-season acquisition, first by the Red Sox and then last year by the Giants. And they brought back Peavy this year, gave him a 2-year, $24 million contract. Well, he was great for him down the stretch. 12 starts last year, won 6 games, and a 2.17 ERA with the Giants. And that was after he'd gone 1-9 in 20 starts in Boston. A.J. Pollock, Star Wars bobblehead night here at the ballpark. Some lightsaber metrics. Those films are worked out all right.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm told that all the Star Wars films have made a combined $4 billion, and the Star Wars toys have made over $12 billion. Wow.
That's with a B. And you have seen how many of them?
The next one will be my first.
Here's the 3-2 to Pollock. Ciarte takes off.
So all the Star Wars films have made $4 billion, approximately the same payroll as the Yankees.
Hello.
The odds of successfully navigating an asteroid field.
Now, are you in hyperspace or just normal speed?
I think this is probably normal speed.
All right, because the Millennium Falcon, that's the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. 3-2 to Pollock.
Wow. There goes Cincinnati again, and it's fouled.
I mean, I'm reading them off a sheet. You're just throwing them out there off the front of your head.
It's kind of scary, isn't it?
It is. Really scary.
You never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
No. Nor the Kessel Run.
Kessel Run's tough.
Apparently.
Got Yoda, Chewbacca, the whole gang is here. Lightsaber metrics, Chewie the all-time leader in Wookiees above replacement. I don't know how they arrived at the 19.3 number, but he's tops in war. They got him.
That's a balk. Yeah,
yep.
I suppose he wasn't on the bag.
Chewbacca. Boy, they're on fire in the truck tonight. Well, they keep on to throw over there. There's no one there to throw to.
Yeah, the first baseman has to either be on the base or at least in the vicinity of the base if you're going to make a play like that. Buster Posey, he was as surprised as anybody over there that Jake Peavy decided to pick the first.
Any chance Buster missed a sign or something, or Peavy just...
I think Peavy just had a little bit of a brain cramp out there.
Well, he's probably looking at all the Star Wars guys in the stands. So Ender in scoring position. 2 down, a 3-2 count to Pollock.
What do you mean it's Star Wars night?
To us, it's Saturday. Ball 4. 2 on and 2 out for Goldie. First walk issued by Jake Peavy. But it shows you how valuable this little slap hit 2-out singles can be. I mean, Peavy's rolling along. He gets Hernandez on 1 pitch. He strikes out the pitcher. 2 down, you're thinking quick inning. Suddenly Ciarte singles. Peavy gets a little rattled over there. He balks him over to second. He loses Pollock, and now he's got 2 on, 2 out for Paul Goldschmidt.
And that is not an appetizing thing if you're a pitcher. Goldie, with 2 outs and runners in scoring position this year, hitting .516. Number 1 in the majors. League average is .232.
Stop it. Goldie last night, a pair of hits and a pair of RBIs. Leading the major leagues in RBIs. A chance to get the Diamondbacks a little closer here with 1 swing. He's got Ciarte at second, Pollock at first. Good speed on the bases with 2 outs. Right back to the mound. It's off Peavy. He's got time to recover the underhand scoop, and they get Goldie at first. A nice recovery there by the veteran right-hander, and he strands 2. Through 3 innings, Jake Peavy keeps it a 4-1 Giant lead. Giants 4-1. It was an interesting inning for Jake Peavy out there. An animated discussion, as you often see with Jake Peavy in the dugout between innings.
Does he have any other kind?
He is on fire. Here's Susac, the catcher. Peavy still not out there in the on-deck circle as the inning gets underway. He's supposed to be out there. Them's the rules. But he's still in the dugout, still yapping. And nobody in the on-deck circle for the Giants. Yeah, it's like Puig is coming up. Where is he?
Signing autographs.
1-1. Now Peavy saunters into the on-deck circle. Susac struck out looking his first time. That's a fair ball. It's down the left field line, headed for the corner. Susac takes the turn and pulls in at second. It rolls away from Peralta, and Susac is headed for third. Well, David Peralta did not play that ball very well in the corner there. It got away from him, and the catcher is able to pick up an extra 90 feet.
We talk about the odd angles all the time between the foul pole and where the bleachers start, both in left and right field, as you see Jake Lamb with a good effort, but that one gets by him. Maybe just kind of misplayed that ball off the sidewall, and the slow-footed Andrew Susac ends up at third base. Another beautiful slide.
I can't wait for the Brenly sliding clinic.
They make a lot of money because there's a lot of guys that don't know how to slide. Watch out, Angel Pagan.
Now he is in the on-deck circle, and he almost took one right in the head on that check swing from Peavy with Susac at third. Peavy singled and scored a run his first time up. And he's down 0-2. Last time reached out and just shot one the other way down the right field line. Part of a 4-run Giant third. He scored that a triple, by the way, for Susac. That's his second triple this year. Leadoff triple, and now he's gone full on the pitcher Peavy. Ground ball in the hole. Lamb steps in front of Ahmed, cuts it off. They keep Susac on the bag at third, and they get the first outs. You got a pair of really good gloves down there on that left-hand side of the Diamondback infield.
Center fielder Angel Pagan.
Ranging far to his left this time. In case you're wondering, third basemen are taught to take anything they can get to. Now, of course, if you play long enough with the same shortstop, you get to know his range, he gets to know your range, and you don't step on each other. But third basemen are taught to take anything they can get to their left, even if it means stepping in front of the shortstop, because you have a much better angle throwing to first base.
Angel Pagan 2 for 2, a pair of singles, and he scored a run.
Chase Anderson trying to incorporate that curveball. By my unofficial count, he's thrown 6 of them, none of them in the strike zone yet. And of course, until he proves he can throw it for a strike, the Giants aren't even going to think about swinging at it.
Diamondbacks used 6 relief pitchers last night, and the pitch count is getting up there for Chase. There's a strike. Got to learn that at an early age here in this ballpark.
Love it.
Peavy looked like he just ran a marathon in the dirt.
He's mad at himself for not driving in that run from third base. He was yelling, "Pick me up."
Susac at third after the leadoff triple. 2-1 is fouled into the seats. The Senator is back with us. President and CEO Derek Hall right in front. His lovely wife Amy. I remember last time Senator McCain was here, he had a foul ball hit right to him. And afterward he tweeted out, "I lost it in the sun." Which I thought was pretty funny.
That's pretty good. Pretty quick, Senator.
70 pitches for Chase, 44 strikes. 2-2 to Angel Pagan. That's slicing into the seats. Now the Senators, he's got a TV down there, and he saw the replay of himself, and they're not going to let you live that down. Great Diamondback fan. Derek will be getting ready to make the trip to Cooperstown at the end of this month for the Randy Johnson ceremony. D-backs will have a whole cavalcade of stars down there for that event. Not only he broke his bat, it's in the air in right field. Inciarte and Pollock. Pollock has it. Susac tags, and he will score. 5-1 Giants. The RBI for Pagan. Brings up Joe Panic.
His last at bat, he struck out on 3 consecutive changeups.
Hit him with a breaking ball. There's that curveball you talked about.
Just not commanding it at all time. Of course, Panic wants to hang in there as much as he can. He got embarrassed by 3 changeups in his last at bat, so he tried to hang in there on an off-speed pitch. He probably thought it was another changeup, but the ball broke down in, caught him on the knee.
We showed you this earlier. He's kept it in the yard, but he has not been the same pitcher that he was through his first 13 starts this year. The command has not been there. The efficiency has been the big problem. Get behind in counts, you get into trouble, and it's been that way all night long for Chase. Duffy singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 2. David Hernandez will start throwing the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Last night we saw Chafin, Burgos, Perez, Hudson, Ziegler, and Delgado as part of that 5-hour and 11-minute ball game. Bruce Bochy used 10 pitchers last night. Ran through his entire bullpen and his bench. In fact, last night, very unusual for the Giants. It was the first time in their history that they used 22 of their 25 available players, not counting expanded rosters. So, in other words, not in September. 22 of the 25 that were on the roster, Bruce Bochy put in there, including 10 pitchers.
In Boch's defense, several of those pitchers came in and got 1 out or 2 outs and then immediately were out of the ball game. They kind of spaced it out, and certainly the Giants bullpen is used to that kind of a workload in a close game, especially in extra innings.
And now Chase is behind Duffy, 3-0. A little bit of everything last night. And that's not even counting the weather, which got a little crazy.
Yeah.
Monsoon rains outside, some rain inside the ballpark. We'll really have to check in with Ralph Kelso at some point in the ball game. Get the Ralph Kelso spot on weather forecast for the rest of this homestand. Base hit for Duffy. Duffy, 3 hits last night. He's 2 for 3 tonight. Here comes Mike Harkey. They wanted to get Chase Anderson as much rest as possible. You'll remember when they first announced the rotation to begin the second half of the year, Chase was number 5 in line. Trying to extend that all-star break for him and really give him some extended time off, but then Jeremy Hellickson came up with a blister on his right thumb, and Anderson went from 5th in line up to 2nd. And Hellickson is scheduled to pitch Tuesday against the Marlins, Matt Latos. So they did not get Chase as much rest as they'd hoped to, because he'd certainly looked fatigued there to close the season's first half. That's all tied into the fastball command. Now he's got 2 on and 2 out for Buster Posey, who had a 2-run single his last time up. Panic is the runner at second and Duffy at first.
Buster overthinking that one just a little bit. I mean, that can't be any more in the middle of the strike zone. Thankful to get away with one like that.
I mean, if a guy is having problems throwing strikes and you're up there in an RBI spot, you're going to be patient, right? But
yeah,
maybe too patient. 1-1. Giving Oscar Hernandez a workout back there.
How about this for Buster Posey? He's walked more than he struck out this season.
Love guys like that.
Oh, man. Good eye for the strike zone. Not only hits for power, but hits contact, puts the ball in play with 2 strikes.
Drives the 2-1 into center. They're going to wave Panic. The throw from Pollock is cut off, and they have no play on Duffy at third. It's 6-1 San Francisco.
Stay up the middle of the field in RBI situations. Clean base hit into center. Goldie made the right choice there, cutting that ball off. They had no chance to get the runner at home plate. You just hope that one of the runners on base took too big of a turn.
Well, it turned out to be another troubling outing for Chase Anderson, the guy that Chip Hale called our horse through most of the first half of the season. He has been outstanding, but has struggled lately. He leaves trailing 6-1 back after this.
I might have watched it if they had sausage.
Diamondbacks down 6-1 in the 4th inning, and now we introduce you to the firm of Hernandez and Hernandez. David Hernandez on in relief of Chase Anderson, working to rookie catcher Oscar Hernandez behind the plate.
For all your pitching and catching needs.
Rough night for Chase Anderson. We'll see if David Hernandez can quiet things down. He's got Duffy at third, Posey at first, and Hunter Pence at the plate. There's a strike. Giants with 4 in the 3rd and now 2 here in the 4th. Pence has walked and grounded out. He's 0 for 1. That's a Hunter Pence hack right there.
A hack. That's a good way to describe it. That's not a swing. That's a hack.
Exactly.
A lot of moving parts. I mentioned it before. You certainly would never teach a youngster to do anything the way Hunter Pence does, but man, you hope your kid turns out to be a player like him.
I think the one thing you would teach him is to play hard all the time.
All the time.
This guy is all out all the time. Other than that, yeah, the fashion, the beard, the whole thing. Riding around on a scooter.
You know, we talked about the paleo diet that he was on for a long time.
Yeah.
He's not doing that anymore. His body fat, if you can believe this, got down to 1%.
A bouncer up the middle. Duffy will score to make it 7-1. Well, the Diamondbacks last night had 1 point in the ball game and a 5-2 lead, right? Yeah, 5-2 after 5 innings, and ever since then it has been all Giants in this series. Brandon Crawford.
I don't think there's any question that Chase Anderson was at least thrown out of his rhythm, at worst really disrupted by Oscar Hernandez behind the plate and their inability to get on the same page with the signs. Not blaming Oscar in any way, shape, or form, but something had to be remedied a lot quicker than it was in this ball game. Just labored through 3 2/3, stepping off the rubber on almost every other pitch. But that's all part of the development, not only for Oscar Hernandez behind the plate, but for the pitchers on the mound. You've got to learn to deal with things and let them enter your consciousness and then leave. Deal with the next pitch, one pitch at a time.
And the other problem for Chase, Bob, was that the leadoff man for the Giants reached base safely in every inning. Pagan singled and Panic singled to lead off the ball game. Pence walked to lead off the second. Peavy the base hit to lead off the third. And Susac the triple in the 4th. And now the last 4 Giants have all reached a hit, batter, and 3 singles. 2-2 on Crawford. So in terms of just having a clean inning, or at least being able to not pitch from the stretch, Chase Anderson did not have that luxury at almost any point in the ball game tonight. Two and two. That is bounced to second. Owens is there. Now the Giants follow up a 4-run third with a 3-run fourth, and they take a 7-1 lead. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. David Peralta leads off the Arizona 4th. Enough. Buster Posey, who caught all 5 hours and 11 minutes last night, all 12 innings, started tonight at first base. He will now move back behind the plate. And Brandon Belt, who is starting in left field tonight, replaces Posey at first. And so that means Gregor Blanco comes off the bench and he checks into left. So Susac is out of the ball game.
I gotta believe there's some kind of an injury to Andrew Susac. He did that triple out in the left field corner. Very awkward head first slide. Went down hard on his right rib cage. Had to scramble back to the bag there. Not sure if it was his hand, his ribs. Jammed his thumb into the bag very hard right there. For whatever reason, Susac out of the ball game. Buster Posey, strap it on.
Well, then he's thrilled he has to put Buster back there again. Here's Peralta. Tripled and scored back in the second. David, who had 2 triples last night. It's his 7th triple of the ball game and his first at bat here tonight.
Well, it's only the 7th time in
season, pardon me.
In D-backs history. It was only the 7th time that a player has had 2 triples in the same game. Only David Peralta and Tony Womack have done it twice. We'll do it again. Just keep hitting triples.
Having a big July, hitting .310 this month with 10 extra base hits. Like Grandma made.
You know you want it.
Lemonade, lemonade like Grandma made. Yum, yum, gotta get some. Yeah.
If they took vendors to the All-Star game, that guy would go every year.
All over the ballpark.
I've seen Derek at ballparks down here in the Valley for years and years. You hear him at the spring training stadiums back in the day.
Oh, Brandon Belt, a terrific play there to take another extra base hit away from Peralta. Just moved into the game at first base after starting in left field, and sure enough, the first one finds him.
Gets by down into the right field corner. You're looking at a possible triple, but Brandon Belt didn't allow that to happen.
So 1 out for Chris Owings. CO had a ball that went right through Matt Duffy at third base. Scored an RBI single. So he's 1 for 1. Homered here last night. Chris in last night's game hit the ball hard several times. He singled, stole a base, homered, and also drew a walk in the 10th inning last night against Santiago Casilla. That's a good sign for Chris, who since the first week of June has struggled a bit up there, hitting under 190 over the last month. It certainly showed some signs last night of barreling up a few balls. That was a sight for sore eyes. He launched his home run to deep left center field. And he has said this year it's been, kind of a day-to-day adjustment for him. Talk about not being able to settle in or get comfortable. That's been the deal with Chris Owings, making adjustments with his swing coming off that shoulder operation. Not being able to hit all winter long. He's had a lot to deal with here. But the Diamondbacks, either way, have got to get more production from the second base spot. Because in terms of OPS from second base, the Diamondbacks are last in the National League. A high fly ball along the right field line, drifting near the seats, and it's in there.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Had that shot of Turner Ward, the Diamondback hitting coach, and of course with CO to protect that left shoulder, they've come up with a new swing for Chris, a different follow through. Used to come through with a ball or the bat only in that left hand, and the right hand would come flying off, but now they want both hands on the bat all the way through, just like that. As he extends with both hands on the bat through the follow through to try and relieve some of the stress on that surgically repaired left shoulder. Which doesn't sound like a whole lot. It's basically just a two-hand follow through, but it seems like it might be a big adjustment for him.
If it's different than what you're used to, it's a huge adjustment.
You see both hands all the way through. That other hand just comes flying off. Here's the pitch he got last night, a fastball up off Matt Cain.
We're talking about that two-handed follow through. Curtis Granderson, when he went to the Yankees, was always a top hand off the bat guy, and Don Long took him in the cage one day and said, I think you can hit for more power, especially with this short porch in right field, if you keep both hands on the bat during your follow through. And Curtis Granderson had a huge year.
Peavy just lost his footing there in mid windup. Or almost dropped the ball, either one. One more time on 2-2. CO is making more contact up there. Remember all the guys that used to work with Walt Riniak, and they do that Rich Gedman helicopter swing, and he'd end up in this weird position. One hand way above your head, the other hand right below your knee.
Yeah, Walt Riniak kind of took Charlie Lau's theories to the extreme.
Yeah. And Chris Owings gets into this one. Penson from the warning track. But the whole idea again for Chris is just protect that shoulder and take some of the stress off.
Yeah, last year you'd have seen that right hand come off the bat at the point of contact. Right about there, the right hand would have come off the bat as he finished his follow through. But this year, trying to keep both hands on the bat to take some of the pressure off that shoulder.
That really was a complicated process for Chris. Here's Jake Lamb. Chris hurt that shoulder against these Giants last June here at Chase Field. They head for a slide into home plate. Jake flat out his first time. And Owings was hitting .280 for the year when he hurt that shoulder, then suddenly missed 10 weeks. Came back and just wasn't right. Played only 21 games the rest of the year. Hopper to second. Panic is there, and Peavy works a 1-2-3-4. Diamondbacks down 7-1.
To say the least for all-star A.J. Pollock, taking in the festivities in Cincinnati, and since returning to Arizona, he's been on the go. Up bright and early this morning for an autograph session with some of his biggest fans. And speaking of those fans, they're sitting right behind me here in section 134. Members from Cox Solutions at Tempe Marketplace had a chance to meet and greet with the Arizona All-Star before boarding Fox Sports Arizona's Fan Express bus to come out here to the ballpark on no other than A.J. Pollock's Star Wars bobblehead night. And I just think now things have to go in favor of the Diamondbacks, right? They need to get in the win column. It's Star Wars night. So I think the only thing to say is may the force be with the D-backs. May they go out there, get some quick outs, and then get some runs across the plate, guys.
Yeah, wasn't that Harry used to say that all the time? Let's get some runs.
Let's get some runs.
Hi. Hey, thank you, Harry. Always good to have you with us. Brandon Belt leads off the Giant fifth against David Hernandez. That's a pretty good deal. You go down to the Cox Solutions store, Tempe Marketplace. You meet A.J. Pollock. You get the picture. You get on the Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express. You come on down to the ballpark. That's a nice day right there.
Yes, indeed.
Brandon Belt, the only Giant starter tonight, including Jake Peavy, who does not have a base hit. And there's our group that was meeting A.J. this morning, and then on the Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express. And great job by our friends at Cox Communications to put that together. There's the young Jedi. Oh, Brandon Belt, it's not your night. 0 for 3. You ever have a night like that where you were the guy that didn't get the hit?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
many of them.
Well,
you know, and I've said in the past, I feel that's being a good team player. Somebody's got to make the outs. Otherwise, you play forever. Somebody's got to make outs. And Brandon Belt has taken it upon himself tonight.
Well, you just contribute in different ways, that's all. So here's Blanco, who checked into the ball game in left field when Susac came out, and he'll hit in Susac's spot. His first at bat tonight. And he's had a real good year at the plate, hitting .310. And that, well, the OPS is by far a career high. Not pictured here.
We were talking about Pagan and his gimpy knees out there in center field for the Giants. It's cost him some bases. It's cost him some runs, possibly cost him some ball games. And with Blanco swinging the bat the way he has been this year, there's a groundswell of San Francisco Giants fans that would like to see Blanco play every day. How quickly they forget. Angel Pagan was the darling of Giants fans not long ago. Now they want to see him on the bench.
Blanco's had a hot bat all year long. He missed some games last month with a concussion, but ever since May the 1st, he's hit about .340 up there and played his usual good defense. 0-2. Called strike 3. Second strikeout for David Hernandez. 2 down here in the 5th. A discussion there with Jim Reynolds, the plate umpire. Hey fans, now's the time. Tweet us your strongest fan photo. Just remember to use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan. That's AZDataStrongFan. And you might see yourself in an upcoming Diamondback broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. I wonder if Boba Fett gets good cell phone service. Jake Peavy. This one high in the air to center. Hernandez works a 1-2-3-5. Bottom 5 coming up. Diamondbacks with some work to do here, down 7-1.
tomorrow. This is must-see TV. Couple of lefties. They're both pretty good. Mad Bum and Patrick Corbin in the series finale. Diamondback Live pregame show comes your way at 12:30. That's going to be fun. And then I got another one for you, BB. How about when the Marlins get in here starting on Monday? You got De La Rosa Phelps Monday, Helix and Latos Tuesday. How about this one Wednesday? Robbie Ray and Jose Fernandez. Nick Ahmed will lead off the 5th. And Oscar Hernandez, the rookie catcher in his first major league start, is in the on-deck circle for his second big league at bat. He grounded out his first time. Nick Ahmed hit into a double play to end the second. He's 0 for 1. Crawford at short. That's generally a place where balls in the infield go to die. So here's Oscar Hernandez. Last time up, he kind of hacked at the first pitch and chopped it the other way up the first base line and hit the bag. Stayed fair and he was tagged out. And his first big league at bat was over almost before it began. And so here's try number 2. Oscar made his major league debut actually on Sunday at Citi Field in New York as a pinch runner. And I'd like to see the list of catchers who saw their first big league action as pinch runners. But Oscar did against the Mets.
That's a short list, I guarantee you.
Diamondbacks with the short night tonight by Chase Anderson and the long night tonight by their bullpen. Will have to ham and egg it here. As Oscar waves at that one. Aaron Hill is in the on-deck circle. He'll hit for Hernandez. And I believe, Josh Comenter warming up with the Sanderson Ford bullpen. So we'll look for some length out of Josh tonight. 1-2 on Hernandez. Popped up near the Giant dugout. Out of play. Oscar, the first overall pick by the Diamondbacks in the Rule 5 draft last December off the Tampa Bay Rays roster. And then suffered that fractured hamate bone in his left hand during the second week of March. Had surgery. He was out for a while. 13 minor league rehab games last month, and now here he is starting in the big leagues. Reaches down, and he's got his first big league hit. Oscar Hernandez is headed for second, and he's in there. Welcome to the big leagues, Oscar Hernandez.
Almost threw it over the dugout roof. Castillo had an extra ball right there, so when they threw the actual game ball that he hit down that left field line out, Wellington caught it and then flipped another ball up into the stands. This is our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game, just past a diving Matt Duffy. Congratulations to Oscar Hernandez.
Reached down there and poked it up the left field line for a 1-out double. And Aaron Hill will hit for the pitcher. Aaron had a big hit last night, a 2-out pinch hit RBI double. And he is 5 for 19 this season as a pinch hitter.
You heard Oscar before the ball game saying his parents would be watching back in Venezuela tonight. I'm sure they're jumping up and down on the couch right now.
Kidding me, as soon as that ball got by Duffy, they were airborne.
You know, it's a great moment for the player, but there's a lot of people behind Oscar Hernandez that have helped him on his journey to get here tonight, and parents and coaches and trainers, older players that have helped him along the way. I'm sure they're all sharing in his success here tonight.
And if you get to know the young man a little bit like we did this spring, you're really happy for him, because he is A quality guy, a hard worker, really hard worker, and trying to absorb a whole lot at a young age. And Oscar, you'd get sometimes this spring, you'd get Salt River and the sun would not be up yet. And there'd be one guy out there on the agility field running sprints in his gear, and it was Oscar Hernandez. And then after every bullpen session, sitting there in the clubhouse, kind of hunched over in front of his locker, taking notes about all the pitchers he'd caught that day. Trying to learn as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Hill reaches out and rolls it to shortstop. Crawford's there. That's a close play at first.
Crawford took a little extra time before firing across to Brandon Belt that time. He made it a close play.
A 2 down now for Ender Inciarte. Well, Star Wars night, and the lines are really jammed up here. You got some stormtroopers who want a burger. I don't know how they eat with those helmets on there. Boy, that guy, Randy Johnson there, it looks like he's ordering about 12 hot dogs.
No, this is not Kiss Cam, but that's all right.
It is now. Ender singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2.
You know, we're all happy Ender back in the lineup. Good to see him and his energy back at the top of that Diamondbacks batting order. But nobody happier than the guy in the on-deck circle, A.J. Pollock. Did a nice job filling in that leadoff spot. 145 plate appearances, hit .262. But batting second in 194 plate appearances, a .319 hitter. Numbers don't lie. A.J. just appears to be much more comfortable in that 2-hole, even though he did a nice job in the leadoff spot.
And Chip Hale has told us a number of times he's more comfortable with A.J. batting second in the order. Even though when we broke camp, he was insistent that Pollock would be the leadoff guy. It doesn't take long when you watch Ender out there every day to figure out, you know, this guy's got a little something extra special. And he's a nice fit for this leadoff spot. And A.J., with the way he drives in runs, finds gaps, hits it down the line, a good fit for the 2-hole.
I think any player in Major League Baseball right now would love to hit second for the Diamondbacks.
It's a good spot, huh?
Yeah, it's a real nice cradle right there. In front of Paul Goldschmidt. Usually that's not a good sign if you're the pitcher on the mound when you look over to the opposing dugout and 6 guys with helmets and bats waiting to get up there and take their hacks against you.
Wait a minute, I'm leading 7-1. I'm not behind. Why do all these guys want to hit against me?
Well, right now it's just Goldie, but on occasion you'll see the guy after Goldie, David Peralta, be standing over there with a bat and helmet ready to take his hacks.
1-2.
I had never heard this particular saying until I got to the big leagues. One of the rare occasions when we busted loose for a big inning, and probably Kuiper, somebody on our bench, yelled out to the pitcher on the mound, "There's a riot at the bat rack." Guys were fighting each other to get up to the plate.
Well, it hasn't quite been the case tonight for the Diamondbacks. They've been out hit 11-4 and trail at 7-1 and just trying to get something going here against Peavy. He's now thrown 70 pitches, 50 for strikes. Well, the Stormtroopers have made it to the front of the line. There's no way to eat with that thing on. 3-2. It into right. Oscar Hernandez is on his way in, and he's going to score. An RBI for Ender Inciarte, and it's 7-2.
good for Oscar Hernandez to get on the plate. I mean, it's great to get your first major league hit, a double down in the left field corner, but stepping on home plate really completes it. First double, first run scored. Celebrate for about 10 seconds and then put your gear on.
The moment's over. A.J. Pollock lifts it out to left. It's in front of Blanco out there. 2-on-2 out for Goldie. Third Diamondback hit in the inning against Peavy. He may be starting to tire a little bit out there. Remember, he was out for about 3 months, and he's only made 2 starts since coming off the DL.
If you look at the numbers over his 4 starts this season, and granted they're split up by a couple of months and he hasn't been at full effectiveness, but it's kind of been his history. He'll cruise through the lineup that first time, and then the second and third time through the lineup he usually struggles.
Well, if you're going to get back in this thing, it needs to be right here. 2-on-2 out for Goldie, who's 0 for 2. Last time to end the third, Goldie was up there with Inciarte at second and Pollock at first, 2 outs, and he hit one right back to Peavy that Peavy kind of body blocked like a hockey goalie and made the out at first to end the inning. He's ahead here 0-1. Yeah, he's starting to lose it out there. Picture time. That's a senatorial selfie. Third time through the order here for Jake Peavy. Opponents hitting .400 against him. 1-1. Oof.
Right out there where Goldie likes it. Buster slides out on the corner of the ball, tailed back toward the middle of the plate.
Sure did.
Swing through that very many times.
And that came back in that happy zone nicely for him. 431 this year with runners in scoring position, best in the National League. Leading the majors in RBIs. The 1-2 pitch. Giant bullpen is still quiet here. Peavy approaching 80 pitches in the ball game. Bochy last night went through 10 pitchers. He strikes out Goldschmidt and strands 2. The Diamondbacks get 1, and they trail it 7-2.
Tunisia. It's a shout out to you. That's
rainstorm in 50 years.
That's the dumbest cold hard facts ever. What? It rained in Tunisia 50 years ago. Hey, you know who would know about this, BB?
I have a pretty good feeling.
It's Ralph Kelso. Rain in, I don't know if Ralphie's prepared for rain in Tunisia. I don't know if he was prepared for the rain we had here last night, frankly. There's Ralph Kelso. Hey, Ralph. I guess it's time for the highlight of any Diamondback homestand. It's the Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast.
That's right.
First of all, is the timing okay? Are you available? Can we talk to you?
Yeah, I think I'll talk to you.
Well, thanks, Ralph. Jeez, don't do us any favors. You know, Ralph, we had rain, monsoon rains last night, and this afternoon my phone's going off about a dust storm.
That's right.
What's going on out there?
Well, we did have a dust storm warning that expired at 5 o'clock. But we do have a flash flood watch till 11 o'clock tonight. I heard it is raining in some parts of the valley right now. So do be careful out there, Diamondback Nation. Hey, we will get back into the mid-90s. It's going to be in the mid-90s tomorrow, folks. We're going to be back to our seasonal norms the rest of this homestand. And I do want to remind you folks out there.
Yes, Ralph.
Have to work here a little bit.
Don't let the camera interfere with your script. Are you Ralph? Are you using cue cards up there?
No, right off the top of my head.
All right. It appears you have some prepared material. That's all.
Negative.
All right.
Hey, I gotta work.
We all do.
Hey, come on down, folks. A whole lot of people having a whole lot of fun down here.
That's the Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast. We have to get that thing sponsored. Here's Joe Panik. Yeah, a 10-game homestand here. You got to check in with Ralph about what we can expect. And it's funny, you know, Ralph, in addition to all his weather duties, BB, as I'm sure you know, operates essentially the main camera back there, which is high above home plate. So as soon as somebody hits the ball into the field, this is Ralph's shot. While he's talking to us, he's working that camera. That's Ralph's camera right there.
Multitasking.
Now, Ralph, I'm sorry we didn't get to you earlier. I know you had put that request in.
That's right, I did.
Well, things kind of got away from us, so we apologize. Josh Colmenter on in relief of David Hernandez. 1-2 on Joe Panik, who was singled and been hit by a pitch. He scored a run his last time up. It's a big night for our crew, Bob, because we had another Lamb feast. There's Dennis Lamb, the leader of the Lambs here in our crew. Dennis, you did a bang-up job, as always, with the dinner for the crew before the ball game today, so thanks very much.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun. We love feeding everybody around here.
I mean, Dennis and his whole family, I mean, they work for days, BB. They cook chicken. They make unbelievable coleslaw. Potato salad. The desserts people were raving about the desserts.
It's a real family affair. Got the wife, got the daughter, got the son. Everyone helps out.
Now, you are not related to Jake Lamb, right? Just to clarify.
Yeah, no relation to Jake.
But he is your favorite Diamondback?
Absolutely. Number 19, Jake Lamb. We love him to death at home.
We are drowning in lambs here at Chase Field. So, Dennis,
baby.
From all of us on the crew, another tremendous job. So, thanks for our cookout. We had a whole crew had a big feast before the ball game today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hey, we're going to do it again in August.
So look for that. The next edition of the Dennis Lamb Show comes your way in August.
Yahoo! Let's get some runs.
That's Harry's line.
Hi!
There's Harry. Thanks as always. The wheels are officially off. Matt Duffy now, who's got 2 hits. He had 3 hits last night. So a walk to Panik with 1 out. And we got a great group here. We're blessed. We really do have a great crew.
Very lucky. Very good at what they do, and a lot of fun to be around.
I wonder now if Dennis is going to get a big head like Ralph.
confidence is high that that will happen.
I'm a little worried about Ralph. There was a problem yesterday. Somebody put the wrong color M&Ms in Ralph's green room.
Ooh.
And he refused to go on. So we were able to convince him to get back on the air tonight. Just misses inside, and it's 2-2. That's in the seats. The numbers on Josh Colmenter this season, and he checks in with his rookie catcher.
It's been a while for Josh. He last pitched on July 10th, that series back in New York against the Mets. An inning in that ball game. I guess that's kind of a mixed blessing, because that means you haven't needed to use your long guy as much as maybe you thought you were going to have to. Of course, with the short outing by Chase Anderson tonight, it's going to take multiple pitchers to eat up some innings.
A little roller toward Owings at second. They get Duffy, and Panic moves up with 2 outs. There's Buster Posey. Posey started the game at first base. And then when Andrew Susac had to leave in the 4th inning, he went back behind the plate after catching 12 innings last night. And the Giants, who are just starting to get healthy, they've been littered with injuries all year long. They don't need to put another guy on the DL. They're trying to get guys off that disabled list. And they got right now Nori Aoki's on the DL. He's got a fractured bone in his right leg, although he could be ready for some minor league rehab games soon. He took BP here yesterday. Tim Lincecum is on the DL. He got a line drive off the right forearm. I don't know when he's going to be back. Jeremy Affeldt, the reliever, has started a minor league rehab assignment, soreness in his left shoulder. Tim Hudson's on the DL right now. He's coming off Monday and will start in San Diego.
Talking about Buster Posey down there at first base, I always appreciate the fact that a guy wants to be a catcher. Mike Piazza was a perfect example of a guy who wanted to be a catcher. He was a horrible defensive catcher, but boy could he hit. And to get that kind of offense from that position, everybody just kind of put up with the lack of defense. Posey is much better defensively than Mike Piazza was, but he's still not what you would call one of the elite defenders behind the plate. But he is an elite hitter. If I was the guy making the decision, Buster would be out there at first base on a pretty regular basis.
Wow, that coming from a catcher.
Yeah, I mean, I do appreciate the fact that he wants to be back there, and there's no question he has tremendous leadership qualities, and Bruce Bochy recognizes that. But looking at the long term, you want this guy in the lineup every day, swinging that bat, driving in runs, and his numbers as a first baseman for his career and for this season have been 50 points higher than his numbers as a catcher. Less wear and tear, less stress on the body, less stress on the mind.
There's also the money factor. 2 years ago, they gave him $167 million. So you got to protect your investment as well. 3-1. Well, there's sort of a domino effect there, BB, because then you got to figure out, is Brandon Belt an everyday outfielder for you? Because he's another young hitter that they like. Although they have yet to commit to Belt long term, certainly like they have to Posey. There's Brandon Belt. He started playing a little more outfield this year. Played almost no outfield the previous 2 seasons, but he played some left field when he first came up. And that was 4 years ago. Trying to make room for all these bats defensively. Colmenter loses Posey. Second walk in the inning.
Right fielder,
Hunter Pence now. An RBI single his last time up. He also walked in the second. Another Hunter Pence hack. Falling over, elbows are flying everywhere.
He's wearing that protest orange sleeve on the left arm. I told this story in the past. When Al Rosen was the general manager in San Francisco, he hated the orange T-shirts underneath the jerseys. Wanted everybody to wear black. And several of us kind of like the look of the orange underneath, you know, with the orange trim on the jersey and everything. And every time we'd wear one during a game, Al Rosen would come down to the clubhouse after the ball game and take them right out of our lockers.
Can you imagine that?
So we dubbed it Protest Orange.
There's a GM these days yanking T-shirts out of guys' lockers. It's a different era.
Where the late Al Rosen, he was as competitive as a general manager as any player out there in uniform on the field. Used to look up to that GM's box during the game, sometimes a candlestick, and you'd see chairs flying through the air. I vividly remember one ball game when we stunk it up pretty bad and got beat late in the ball game. And usually after a tough loss, Al would make his way down to the clubhouse, not to offer words of encouragement, but just to remind us that we really stunk it up tonight. And I was just about to step out of the shower into the clubhouse, and I saw Al coming around the corner, so I stepped back into the shower and stayed there until Al left for about 15 minutes.
Inspirational speech, I'm sure. Al Rosen was involved in all that George Steinbrenner, Billy Martin stuff. He was with the Yankees front office for a while too. Back when Billy was hired and fired half dozen times. Panic is the runner at second and Posey at first. 2 outs, 2-2 to Hunter Pence. Holmenter bounces that one. Now it's full.
I know it's only been 5 2/3 of his major league debut behind the plate, but Oscar Hernandez handled himself well defensively. I mean, the signals and the signs with Chase Anderson notwithstanding, I'm just talking about the mechanics of blocking a ball, getting in front, receiving borderline pitches. He's handled himself very well up to this point.
Three and two. Well, the advance reports on Oscar were glowing, certainly defensively. Runners take off. Pence lifts it in the air toward the left field corner. And foul it. Mark Reed, the bullpen catcher, out there to retrieve that one. Nice catch by Reeder.
That shows you how strong Hunter Pence is. He was fooled badly by that Josh Holmenter changeup. Kind of took a one-handed swing at it way out in front and hit a line drive off the back wall in the bullpen, just foul.
Boy, Reeder didn't even have to move that time. Another 3-2 pitch to Pence. Panic at second, Posey at first, and there they go. Ball four, the bases are loaded. 3 walks in the inning issued by Josh Holmenter. He has walked them loaded.
Hey fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game. Tonight's contestant is one of our finalists for that Sanderson Ford automobile at the end of the season.
That's always one of the exciting days here at the ballpark. Give away the car. Crawford, a 2-run single in the third. He's 1 for 3. Giants were down 1-0. But then they got 4 in the third and 3 in the fourth. They've out-hit the Diamondbacks tonight, 11-6. And Josh trying to get that final out and leave them loaded here. You got Panic at third, Posey at second, and Pence at first. Bases full of peas here for the Giants. Owens is there, and they dodge a bullet. Josh Colmentor leaves them loaded, keeps it a 7-2 ball game. Journey to the Hall of Fame with a series of features leading up to his big day in Cooperstown. Tomorrow, a sneak peek behind the scenes at the Hall as the Hall of Fame prepares for next Sunday's induction ceremony. Randy Johnson, Road to Cooperstown, part of tomorrow's D-Backs Live pregame show, only on Fox Sports Arizona. And that's where the 51 will go up. August 8th here at Chase Field. Bottom six now, Diamondbacks down 7-2. David Peralta races one foul against Shea Peavy. He's back out there to open up the sixth. Peralta tripled. Yes, he tripled again and scored in the second. He's 1 for 2. 2 triples last night, another one tonight. He's now got 7 on the year. In the air, left field. Blanco backing up at the track, at the wall, and it's gone. David Peralta. That's number 9, and it's 7-3. He has been the king of the extra base hit here in July.
We've seen a lot of it come to the opposite field. The triples in the gap to left center. This time a home run straight away left field. Blanco tracking it all the way back to the wall. Just ran out of room. That opposite field approach. It keeps you in such good hitting position. You don't get fooled as much by off-speed pitches. Guys trying to throw fastballs by you in your good hitting position. Shoulders in there. Head right down the barrel of the bat.
Chris Owings an RBI single his first time up, and Co sends one toward left center, but Blanco's there to run it down. Another well hit ball by Chris Owings. He's looked really good at the plate in this series. That's a good sign. And for Peralta, how about this July? He's hitting over .310 this month. He's now got 11 extra base hits and 9 RBIs in July. And no player in the major leagues has more extra base hits this month than David Peralta. Here's Jake Lamb. Jake so far 0 for 2. Well, Diamondbacks got one back in the 5th. Another one back here in the 6th, trying to chip away. This is in the air out toward Pence.
Hey fans, follow the Diamondbacks wherever you are with the MLB.com At-Bat, the #1 app of live baseball. At-Bat is up to the moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
2 down for Nick Ahmed, who's 0 for 2.
I had to rely on MLB at bat last week when I was in Chicago and you guys were back in the Big Apple. I was watching the games, had them dialed up.
That's a great app, man. I use that all the time on the phone. Watch games. David Peralta. And a full lather once again. David had 3 hits last night, including 2 triples. He's got a triple and a home run here tonight. Darth in the house. Look, he's giving him the old forced chokehold thing. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Arrest that man.
0-2 on it. Called strike 3. But Peralta, the solo homer to lead off the inning, is 9th of the year. And after 6, the Diamondbacks are down 7-3.
Catcher. A year ago, he was playing low A ball, so the importance of today not lost on Oscar Hernandez, our Arizona Federal Credit Union power player of the game, making his first major league start behind the dish. And the 22-year-old has memento remember today for sure. After connecting for his first major league hit in the 5th, a double off Jake Peavy, and he scored his first run a couple batters later on an Inciarte single. In my web exclusive with Oscar on FoxSportsArizona.com, Oscar told me he knows this is an incredible opportunity and he is ready for the challenge at hand, definitely putting the work in today on the field, but every day off the field, doing all he can to take advantage of this. And today, a good step in the right direction.
It sure is. Oscar Hernandez back there. His first big league start. And the shift is on by the Diamondbacks against the left-hand hitting Brandon Belt, who was 0 for 3. He struck out twice. Gets a little complicated with these Rule 5 guys, and that's one of the things we've watched with Oscar Hernandez all year long. After he was the first pick in the Rule 5 draft last December. And according to the rules, he's got to be on the roster for 90 days, and that means not on the DL. Otherwise, the Diamondbacks have to offer him back to Tampa Bay, and they'd take him in a minute. But he was on the DL for most of the first half of the year, and they kind of timed his return from the disabled list so it would time out to 90 days on the roster by the time the season ends. So that worked out. Center field, A.J. Pollock.
Rule 5 draft is kind of an interesting thing. There have been years where very few guys were taken in the Rule 5 draft. I think as few as maybe 12 guys in an entire draft. Other times as many as 70 or 75 guys taken off minor league rosters in that Rule 5 draft. It's a little bit of a gamble, but if you've done your homework and you've seen enough of a guy and you recognize that he's a good fit for your organization, it's a way to improve your depth in your organization, maybe get a frontline player that another organization just didn't have room for.
Now, Ender Inciarte is something of a Rule 5 draft cautionary tale because the Diamondbacks at one point lost Ender Inciarte. The Phillies got him in the Rule 5 draft. He was actually on their opening day roster a couple of years ago, but had to be returned to the Diamondbacks, and boy, the Phillies would love to have him back now. So you want to make sure if you do draft one of those guys and get him on your roster, you do what you can to keep him. Because Phillies fans are upset that they let Ender Inciarte slip through the cracks after they had him in a Phillies uniform just a couple of years ago. And the Rays would be just as happy to have Oscar Hernandez back in the fold.
With all due respect, it would take a lot more than Ender Inciarte to improve that Phillies club.
They're going to need about a dozen Ender Inciartes. First, they got to deal Cole Hamels as Blanco punches out for the second time today. So Jake Peavy, nobody up in the Giant bullpen, by the way. He's at 85 pitches in the ball game, and he will hit here with 2 down in the 7th inning. On Star Wars night at the ballpark. Peavy singled and scored in the 3rd, so even he has a hit tonight for the Giants. He's 1 for 3.
Josh Colmenter has now delivered 41 pitches in an inning and 2/3. Jake Peavy has thrown 85 in 6 innings.
Trying to get it done. We're watching Hunter Pence hit. Just his 5th start of the season, and only his 3rd since he was out nearly 3 months with back and hip trouble. Hopper over the mound. Ahmed charges it. And Colmenter, after he walked the bases loaded in the 6th, works a 1-2-3-7 3-stretch. Diamondbacks down 4. adjourned and selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. There it is. Nicely done by the committee. And don't forget, tweet us your strongest fan photo using the hashtag AZDataStrongFan for your chance to have your picture shown on our game broadcast, brought to you by T-Mobile.
Diamondbacks Giants game will be on the American Forces Network tomorrow. We're always excited to do that to our troops at sea and all around the world.
Oscar Hernandez, first major league hit his last time up, a double down the left field line. And he's 1 for 2. His first major league start. Hunter Strickland has started throwing in the Giant bullpen. Peavy approaching 90 pitches. Enrique Burgos warming up for the Diamondbacks. Those bullpens were busy last night. Giants used 10 pitchers. The Diamondbacks used 7.
You needed a reservation to warm up last night.
I can get you in at 7:30. 2-1. Enrique, who had a rough 7th inning last night. 2 singles, a sac fly, and a Hunter Pence 2-run homer that tied it. 2-1. I wonder what kind of a hitter is Oscar Hernandez. We've heard a lot about the defense. Last year, the entire season in A-ball in the Tampa Bay system. 94 games for the Bowling Green Hot Rods in the Midwest League. And there he hit .249 with 9 homers. Had 63 RBIs in 94 games. A career .273 hitter in the minors. And he looks at strike 3. Fourth strikeout for Peavy, 1 down.
Josh Colmenter, number 4.
Cliff Pennington will hit for Josh Colmenter.
I don't care if you're playing for the, what was it, the Hot Rods or the D-backs or
Bowling Green Hot Rods.
Borderline strikes or borderline strikes in any league. Looked like that might have been a little out of the zone.
Cliff Pennington now. He struck out in his only at bat last night. .240 on the year and 9 RBIs. The Evil Empire. He's worked up a sweat under that mask, trying to kick back and have a beer at the ballpark.
Something you can do here at Chase Field that you probably can't afford to do at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, it's like $19.
Yeah.
It doesn't look quite as menacing with the mask up. Pennington gives this one a ride. Way back and go. Cliff Pennington, it's out of here. 7-4 ball game. Keep chipping away. Oh, he hit that one in orbit here on Star Wars night. That's going to be it for Peavy. Cliff Pennington, the pinch hit home run, has made it a 7-4 ball game. That's it for Peavy. Here comes Hunter Strickland back in a moment. On the DL with the back and hip discomfort. 0-4 in 4 starts so far. And hanging on by his fingernails here. Trying to get that first W. Hunter Strickland. Outstanding this year. His 22nd appearance, a 2.14 ERA. He threw only 5 pitches in the ball game last night. Struck out Wellington Castillo to end the 7th, the only batter he faced. Ender Inciarte with 1 out in the 7th. And a 7-4 ball game now. This is bounce to first. Belt has it. 2 down. Well, the Diamondbacks down. Well, they led actually 1-0. Down 4-1, then down 7-1. And it was 7-2, then 7-3, now 7-4. A run in each of the last 3 innings. 2 down now for A.J. Pollock. There he is in his Star Wars bobblehead now. A.J. has walked and singled. He's 1 for 2. .97 in there for a strike. 0-1. A.J. began the ball game tonight 4th in the National League in hits, behind D. Gordon, Paul Goldschmidt, and Joe Panik. You got all these good hitters going in this series. Had 30 hits last night, 19 tonight.
I know you monitor this closely, partner, but Paul Goldschmidt has moved where he normally stands in that on-deck circle. He's moved down a couple of padded posts there.
Yeah, closer to the dugout.
Yeah, a little closer to the dugout, a little farther away from the on-deck circle. Trying to find that hot spot.
Breaking ball misses upstairs, and AJ's ahead 2-1. Well, it's been a quiet month for Goldie. That's, of course, all relative. Quiet for him. He's hitting under 270 this month with 1 home run. Missed again upstairs, that time with a fastball, and AJ's ahead 3 balls and a strike. Giants 4 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th. They led 7-1. Diamondbacks have answered 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and now 1 more here in the 7th. It's full 3-2. Long set that time by Strickland. I thought AJ might ask Jim Reynolds for time. He just did get a piece of that one.
That's what you see pitchers do when there are runners on base, to try to freeze those base stealers. Just hold the ball out there on the mound. But there's nobody on base right now. Strickland just trying to get his mind right before delivering that last pitch to A.J. Pollock.
AJ having a big month, 340 here in July. 7 extra base hits and 7 RBIs in 11 games. That's in the seats. Hunter Strickland, 17 of his last 21 outings have been scoreless. 27 punch-outs in his last 21 innings. AJ battling here, full 3-2. And he gets him. Another 97-mile-an-hour fastball, but the Pennington homer tacks on 1 more for the Diamondbacks, and after 7, they're down 7-4. The Cock Gigalife high-speed highlights our Gila River game summary. 8th inning here at Chase Field on Star Wars night. Giants at one point led 7-1, now it's 7-4. And the new pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the right-hander who had a rough night here last night, Enrique Burgos. The last night came on to start the 7th. Gave up singles to Panic and Duffy, a sac fly to Posey, a 2-run homer by Pence. And Enrique was tagged for 3 runs on 3 hits in 2/3 of an inning. And so trying to right the ship here the night afterwards as Pagan leads off the inning.
I think most pitchers would tell you, or most position players for that matter, if you've had a bad night, you want to get right back in there again as quickly as possible to wash that out of your brain, get back in that strike zone, get guys out again. And Burgos has done such a good job of it this year. You hate to have that one bad outing last night linger in his mind. Forget it and move on.
And Chappelle has said he's a guy they trust, this rookie right-hander, a guy they're going to use in big spots. He's got a power arm with that fastball slider. This is a high fly ball to Inciarte in right field. One away in the 8th. Hey, we got a huge group here tonight, BB, from Cisco, Arizona. About 1,000 employees, their family members. They're spread out all over the ballpark. That's a big section of them. So we're glad to have everyone here from Cisco, Arizona in the house. That's a big group, over 1,000 people.
Cisco kids.
Oh, I see what you did there. That was like a Zorro guy, wasn't he? Or was he a cowboy? The Cisco kid was a cowboy, right?
I'm thinking of the war song. I don't know.
Yeah, he was a cowboy. Dennis Lamb is from our staff, is confirming that.
You know, he drinks whiskey and Pancho drinks the wine.
Joe Panic. Well, Joe Panic, World Series hero. He came out of St. John's. You don't see a lot of course, Frank Viola was the only guy I know of that came out of St. John's as a big league baseball player. He's from a tiny little town in New York State, Hopewell Junction.
Nice.
About 2,600 people. And he won a World Series last fall. So after the series, what do? You go back home. So Joe Panic goes back to Hopewell Junction, New York. Population 2,600. And there were signs in town that said honk for Joe Panic. And he said people actually honked. And he couldn't believe it. And he said that's where it really hit him, that he'd been part of something special and different. And he's got another base hit. Well, he's been hit by a pitch. He's walked. He's had a couple of singles. He was 3 for 6 last night. 3rd in the National League in hits. Joe Panic.
Third baseman Matt Duffy.
They do anything in Coshocton after 0-1? I think they might owe you a parade.
They had a few events back in my hometown. I went back and talked to a couple of different groups, civic leaders and little leaguers, and Boy Scouts, all kinds of stuff like that. But yeah, it was quite a thrill. And then ultimately, as that one bounces in the dirt, Oscar Hernandez had no chance on that one. I got my name on the Welcome to Coshocton sign.
Is it still on the sign?
Yeah.
Bob Brenly welcomes you to Coshocton?
No, it's a Welcome to Coshocton, home of.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm on there with Mike McCullough, a former PGA golfer who was from Coshocton, Ohio, and William Green, who was a big labor leader back in the day, a long time ago. But the funny part of the story is Jim Tracy, the former manager of the Dodgers and the Rockies, and several of his buddies, including Jimmy Lett and some other big league coaches, every year they go back to Coshocton County to hunt deer. And every year Jim Tracy sends me a photo. He's got a bottle of Windex in one hand and a rag in the other, and he's cleaning my sign.
Matt Duffy's got another hit. Well, all this guy does is hit. And these are the same guys that knocked Burgos around last night. Panic, Duffy, that group. So they're on corners with 1 out for Buster Posey. I thought he was going to, shoot the sign. I mean, they're going on a hunting trip. That's good news. We need $500 or your sign gets it. Wire the money to Kashaktan. Posey's had a big night. He walked his last time up. A pair of RBI singles. He's driven in 3. And Matt Duffy had 3 hits last night. He's got 3 hits again tonight. And the cell phone lights are flashing here at the ballpark. Oscar Hernandez keeping busy back there.
Nice job right in the middle of the chest protector.
Trying to keep this a 3-run deficit. Two 2-0. Burgos behind 3-0 now. You were saying you might move Posey to first base if you were running the Giants. And he can play everywhere. He once at Florida State against Savannah State in a ball game played all 9 positions. He used 4 different gloves in that game and hit a grand slam. In fact, he used to pitch for a while.
Wasn't he the closer one season? Yeah.
As a closer for the Seminoles. Started out there as a shortstop, and he was such a good leader. Mike Martin, the coach there, said, I got to make this guy my catcher. It's obvious he's the leader of the team, even though he's an All-America shortstop. So they moved him to catcher. Now here he is. Pitched in relief, in fact, in the College World Series. One time after he caught the first 8 innings and then came in as the closer in the 9th. How about that? Another one fouled. Best leader I've ever had, said Mike Martin, his coach at FSU.
Buster Posey had a cup of coffee with the Giants back in 2009. Only 17 at bats in 7 ball games, hit 118, but came up for good the next year in 2010. And it wasn't like they eased him into it.
Another base hit for Posey. Panic scores. Duffy's in at third, and it's 8-4.
Posey came up from the minor leagues, was immediately the number 4 hitter, the number 1 catcher, and working with that pitching staff that they had back in that's when they were all firing on all cylinders. And they threw Buster out there to the Wolves, and he handled himself well and has continued to do so ever since.
And Posey tonight, 3 singles and a walk. He's got 4 RBIs. They got to get Enrique Burgos figured out here. Mike Harkey's out there. They need this kid this year down the stretch. They need some outs in the back end of that bullpen, and he's one of the guys they're counting on to get them. He's had a rough couple of days against the Giants. Eight-4 ball game now. Duffy at third, Posey at first. Still just 1 out. And here's Hunter Pence, who homered off Burgos last night. Pence has an RBI single. He's walked twice. 1 for 2. This was Hunter Pence last night with 2 outs in the 7th. And it tied at 5-5.
Letter high fastball from Burgos last night, and that tomahawk swing by Hunter Pence produced that line drive homer.
pitch by Enrique that fooled Pence that time. It worked once, why not try it again? Tell you what, when he swings and misses, he swings and misses. Another nice block by Oscar back there. That's what you always talk about, block and recover. Nice recovery.
Especially with runners at first and third. That guy at first may take off for second base. If you're content just to block the ball, he's going to advance 90 feet and get into scoring position. But you pounce on that ball quickly and get ready to throw just in case. That's going to hold most runners over there at first.
2-2 on Pence. Doesn't get the call from Reynolds, and it's full 3-2. Burgos got Pagan to fly out to begin the inning. And then singles by Panic, Duffy, Posey. And he's worked it full to Pence with one out. And he lost him. The bases are loaded for Brandon Crawford. Oliver Perez, the left-hander, has gotten some big left-hand outs, is going to come in right here to work to Crawford. And he's got Belt behind him after that, so they need two big left-hand outs here to get out of this mess with one run already in. Star Wars night here. Back after this. Some more light sabermetrics. A little of light Star Wars factoids for you. George Lucas sure that one of the ones was going to bomb. A New Hope, but that was episode 4, I believe. The first one. Didn't even go to the premiere. He thought it was going to bomb, so he went to Hawaii. He got out of there. And 6 movies later, he's worth like $1 bajillion.
Yeah, can buy Hawaii.
Here's Oliver Perez. He's inherited a big mess here. Giants already with a run in here in the 8th. Bases loaded, 1 out. A couple of lefties coming up. Crawford and Belt behind him. You've got Matt Duffy, the runner, at third. Buster Posey at second. And Hunter Pence at first. Crawford, who leads all major league shortstops in RBIs, up there with the bases full. He had 3 hits last night, including 2 doubles and a 2-run single back in the 3rd. He's 1 for 4 tonight. And Crawford, we've talked about this, much like David Peralta for the Diamondbacks 2 years ago. He just had no chance against lefties, Brandon Crawford. He was just overmatched, but that has really changed. And this year he's doing very well against left-hand pitching. Two seasons ago, he was under 200 versus lefties. This year, he's over 310. And that's not a small sample size either. But it really speaks to the improvement this guy's made in the course of his career. He's always been a great defender, but the bat has caught up to the glove now. At the age of 28, already with 2 World Series rings in his back pocket. And there you go, 314 versus lefties this year. But Ali ahead 0-2. He got a rookie catcher back there, and he checked with the wrong umpire for the appeal. Oscar pointed down to Paul Nard at first. Watch this. You got a lefty up there, so he. Nope, other one. Yeah, you. Okay.
One of you guys. Somebody had to see it.
We'll get that sorted out. You want Mike Estabrook down there, Oscar, at third. 1-2 pitch.
Could just be minor league habits. You know, a lot of times in minor leagues they just work 2-man umpiring crews. The guy behind the plate, obviously, and with runners on base, the base umpire would be somewhere out behind the pitcher's mound on one side or the other a little bit. And when you appeal, you have to ask right back to the mound where that umpire is standing out there in the middle of the infield.
Yeah, when you're catching back there for the Bowling Green Hot Rods, you don't get a lot of 4-man crews, I bet.
No.
Like he was last year in the Midwest League. Another 1-2 pitch. That's a little foul. Crawford was asked about last night's 5-hour marathon. He said, you know, it felt like the start of the year again at the start of the game, and now it feels like July again. It was a wake-up call. A long night. And now both teams back to the grind. A short break for Crawford. He was an all-star. Right back to the mound. They come home for the force, and they get the double play. Nicely done there by the rookie catcher and the veteran left-hander. They got out of a bases-loaded mess, but the Giants do get one. It's 8-4, bottom 8 coming up.
the bottom of the 8th. Diamondbacks Live continues to roll out the red carpet for our VIPs. Monday, it's NAU basketball coach Jack Murphy. He'll join Todd Walsh as our guest analyst. Tuesday, it's Grand Canyon University basketball coach, the one and only Thunder Dan Marley, followed by Suns analyst Eddie Johnson on Wednesday. D-backs Live VIP analyst presented by Nissan all month long, guys. And Dan Marley made quite a catch at the pool, if I remember, a year or two back, guys. So you never know.
Yeah, I heard he also caught a baseball.
I see what you did there.
I was expecting to see. There you go. Maybe somebody down there in a Princess Leia costume, but that didn't work out. Goldie leads off the bottom of the 8th. You know, because she's in the cave with Jabba the Hutt and the whole thing.
Sure. Whatever you say.
Goldie 0 for 3.
Princess Leia was the one with the cinnamon rolls on her ears.
Yeah, the Cinnabuns.
Yeah.
That was a good look back there in the late 70s. Still trying to figure out how Jimmy Smits made it into the Star Wars franchise. That was a deal breaker for me. When Jimmy Smits shows up, I'm out. No, I just never liked him. L.A. Law, that whole thing.
Oh,
no.
that Jimmy Smith. Okay.
Yeah. He showed up as a space guy in one of them.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker.
Glad I didn't get that far.
Well, yeah, a lot of people jumped off after the Jar Jar Binks fiasco. I don't have to remind you about that.
No, that was big news at the time. Sure.
1 and 2. You know, one thing about Star Wars, at least they kept trying to make a new movie. These days, you know, you make a Spider-Man, you don't make Spider-Man 2, you just do it again with a different guy as Spider-Man. You know, they've had like 7 Spider-Mans. They had a bunch of Batmans. You just do that again, get a different Batman. Basically make the same movie all the time. You know, you bring in Star Wars, you bring in guys like Darth Maul, and you got Billy D. Williams out there in space, in the Cloud City. Goldie strikes out for the second time tonight. He's 0 for 4.
Yeah, you mentioned a moment ago Brandon Crawford didn't get much of a break because of the All-Star game. Was back in Cincinnati representing the National League. And, of course, Goldie and A.J. Pollock representing the D-backs back there in the Natty. And I'll tell you what, guys, nobody will ever verbalize this. Nobody will say it. But it's taxing. It really is taxing for 3 days to go to the All-Star game and partake all the festivities and do all the events you're expected to do. You get no rest.
Well, Ryan Strickland's going to get some rest. Bruce Bochy going to his bullpen once again as David Peralta comes up. He brings in the left-hander. Back after this. It's a good look.
Fans tonight.
rookie left-hander Josh Osich, who has made 7 appearances with the Giants and so far given up just 2 walks, 5 2/3 scoreless innings. He's yet to allow a hit. Pretty good.
Yeah, Diamondbacks tried everything they could to break through against Osich last night, including raining on his head while he was out there on the mound. Didn't seem to bother him.
This was last night when we had monsoon rains outside and some rain inside coming down right on top of the pitcher's mound. So with 1 out, he'll face David Peralta, who has tripled and homered tonight. Another big night for David. Peralta's homer, it led off the 6th, his 9th of the year. This was Peralta to lead off the 6th against Jake Peavy.
The home run came against Peavy, a right-hander. We've talked a lot about David and what he's done against lefties this year, and it really seemed to take off when Ender Inciarte went on the disabled list. David was getting more regular playing time against righties and lefties, but in his first 21 games against lefties, not so good.
Sends 1 out to Pagano.
He was 2 for 21 in the first 21 games against lefties. In the last 11 games, he's 9 for 24 with 4 extra base hits. He really has changed his approach, changed his mindset against those lefties because he had an opportunity to see him a little more regularly.
And he's talked about that, the idea of facing a left-hand starter versus just facing left-hand relievers all the time in matchup situations late in game. You face a lefty starter, you're going to get 2 or 3 looks at him over the course of the ball game. It's not a one-and-done deal like it is against a relief pitcher. Chris Owings, an RBI single in the 2nd. He's 1 for 3. And has really hit the ball well in this series, even if his outs have been hard hit. And that's been good to see. Swings at a high fastball there, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, it just seems like he's recognizing pitches a little bit better. Coming off the break, he was unable to lay off sliders in the dirt right before the All-Star break, but he's had some lengthy at bats. He drew a walk last night, had a long 9-pitch at bat earlier in the game.
Well, Chris, he's always been aggressive up there, but this year as he's tried to come back from that shoulder injury and swing with that 2-hand follow-through we talked about earlier, he's been more aggressive than ever, and it's hurt him. He's swinging more often than ever before and swinging at more pitches outside the strike zone than ever before. And that's something he's got to get away from. The walk rate's always been low, but it's down even more compared to last year. 2-2 now. Good bat for Chris. Full count, 3-2.
The slider running down and in that time to Chris Owings. Watch Buster Posey. He turns his wrist completely around to chase that pitch out of the strike zone. That'll ruin your thumb.
A walk for Chris Owings. That's a great sign. And CO has now walked in back-to-back games. So that narrative may be changing. Here's Jake Lamb, who could use a hit. He's 0 for 3. Osich last night struck out Lamb to end the or get the 2nd out of the 7th inning. That was the only batter he faced last night.
Job last night with ham and egg in it after 5 innings from Matt Cain. We got 2/3 of an inning from Machi, 2/3 of an inning from Contos, 1/3 of an inning from Osich, 1/3 of an inning from Strickland. Romo really got stretched out, an inning in the 3rd.
Lopez a third of an inning, Petit a third of an inning, Casilla pitched a full inning, and then Vogelsong, the last man standing down in that Giants bullpen, came in and finished it up.
Base hit for Lamb. He rolls it into right center. Look at CO charging into third.
Here we go again. Well, I got to go out there and get him.
CO swinging a little better, recognizing pitches a little better. Now, if you get Jake Lamb going a little bit, suddenly this lineup looks a lot more formidable.
Another threat for the Diamondbacks. Here comes Romo back in a moment. Diamondbacks down 8-4. Sergio Romo, who worked 1 1/3 last night through 17 pitches, is back out there tonight and back on the Chase Field mound, where his career ERA is .32.
1 run in 32 ball games. I think it was March of last year, the 1 run he gave up in this ballpark.
Well, you've got Chris Owings, the runner, at third, Jake Lamb at first, 2 outs, and Nick Ahmed is the hitter. Nick tonight 0 for 3. See, he gets you. He drops that first pitch slider in there for a strike and then tries to get you to chase the rest of the time.
And he's sneaky with the fastball. He'll show you those sliders one after another on both sides of the plate, and then just about the time you turn it around and sit on the slider, he throws a fastball right by you.
Oof. Slow and slower.
Seen some big arms out of that Giants bullpen, most notably Hunter Strickland tonight. Osich was hitting the mid to upper 90s with his fastball too. This guy never even looks at the radar gun.
Ahmed able to hold off there. It's the same deal every time. He's ahead 0-2, 1-2, and then it's slider away, slider away, slider away, and sooner or later it seems somebody always chases one and punches out. Missed with that one away. Case in point, Ahmed holds off, and it's 2-2. Big crowd here tonight, more than 37,000 with us at Chase Field for Star Wars night. First 20,000 fans got an A.J. Pollock Jedi bobblehead. Two and two. Oh, he hung that slider out over the plate.
He sure did.
That was a hanging nothing ball, and Ahmed missed it. That is not the location you're looking for if you're Sergio Romo.
He will throw that slider on both sides of the plate, but I don't think he wanted that one right there. Posey had slid out on that outside corner, but that one just fluttered over the inside part of the plate.
Fluttered is a perfect word.
Yeah.
Another 2-2 pitch to Nick. Center field, Pagan is there. We go to the ninth. Diamondbacks down 8-4. By your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers. A galaxy far, far away. Is there a Diamondback win out there against these Giants? It's the ninth inning. Oliver Perez back out there. T-backs trail at 8-4. And Brandon Belt set to lead off the San Francisco ninth. A cavalcade of Star Wars stars. That's the Padawan thing. What was her name? Natalie Portman in that movie?
It's just right on the
I'm
tip
asking
of my
you.
tongue.
I'm told Queen Amidala. Oh. Telling you, you get Jimmy Smits involved, I might. That's one of those guys. Bell 0 for 4. He's had a tough night. Giants have 14 hits and 8 runs. And Belt's up there with an 0 for. He was 1 for 6 last night. And has really struggled this year against left-hand pitching. I think one night we should have a rock and roll documentary movie night so you can relate.
Nice. I like that.
I hate to see you left out of all the Star Wars stuff. Because on the planes you're always watching a documentary about a band or something. Getting deep into that rock history. The full El Tiante rings him up. And Belt strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. The full Louis.
What they used to say about Tion, at some point in the ball game, he'll look every fan in the eye.
That's right. That was a great Joe Garagiola line from the '75 World Series. And he worked that series with Dick Stockton and Marty Brennaman. They used to bring the local guys in on the network call those days. Tony Kubek, of course, as well. You'd have the games in Boston, and Dick Stockton, who did the Red Sox games, would do it. Then he'd be in Cincinnati at Riverfront, and Marty Brennaman be in the booth. Blanco 0 for 2 so far. He has struck out twice. How about this? You know, you ran through the whole bench last night if you're Bruce Bochy. You got the pitcher spot up next. I'd kind of like to see Sergio Romo hit. He's out there in the on-deck circle. That could be fun. And Romo last night threw 17 pitches, 1 1/3. He retired Ahmed, the only batter he faced to win the 8th, so he's still got some gas in the tank, trying to save that bullpen after Bochy used 10 pitchers last night. 0-2 on Blanco. Oscar can't find it. Ollie says he doesn't make up his mind how much of the windup he's going to give you, the shimmy and the shake and the whole thing. He kind of just decides as he goes, as he's about to throw the pitch. Sometimes he'll give you the full Louis Tion, other times the quick pitch, sometimes somewhere in between. But he says he makes up his mind right about here as he's about to throw it. Straight to the plate that time. A nice scoop by CO. Some COD at second base. Chris Owings from the edge of the outfield grass. 2 down.
Good range right there, and then soft hands at the end of it. A lot of times when you run that hard and go that far and leave your feet, your hands tend to get a little stiff at that point. The ball hits the glove and drops out, but CO able to stay with it. Nice play.
Now it's moments like this where I kind of wish we had the rights to the theme music from Benny Hill, because here's Sergio Romo. I think that would work really well here. Remember Benny Hill? They'd be chasing the guy around the field, playing that goofy music.
Benny Hill, yeah, that was funny stuff.
All the Giants on the top step to watch this at bat. See if Romo actually takes a cut.
I think if I was in the first base dugout and Sergio Romo was at the plate, I'd get down behind the netting. I wouldn't be up on top of the rail like that. You might shoot one right over there.
0 for 5 at the plate in his career.
No batting gloves.
Gets a piece of it anyway. Chops into the whole atmosphere. And Ali Perez works a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Diamondbacks down 4. Night. It's back here at Chase Field. Friday, August 7th is the date. Get your Zombie Night special event ticket package. Get a ticket to the Diamondback Reds game, a zombie survival duffel bag, and access to the Zombie Zone Haunted Maze. That sounds frightening. Tickets, dbacks.com/events, the whole thing. Remember, you got to get the package to get all the zombie stuff. It's not just the deal where you show up and they give you stuff. You got to buy the special package. Wellington Castillo will hit for Oscar Hernandez to lead off the ninth against Sergio Romo. Star Wars bobbleheads from last year and this year on the railing here. Bottom 9. Pitcher spot is due up next, so after Castillo hitting for Hernandez, it'll be Tomas to hit for Perez. And Wellington ahead 2-0, 234 for the year with 7 homers.
Diamondbacks need somebody to reach here in this inning and get A.J. Pollock to the plate one more time. I gave the numbers earlier. Guys in Diamondbacks uniform on their bobblehead day hit a combined 387 with 6 homers.
Those numbers you saw just for his National League stats combined for all 3 teams he's been with this year. 234. 2-1 now. Well, he caught all 12 innings last night. Had a pair of hits, including a double. And goes into this one at bat tonight, riding a career high 8-game hitting streak. Nope, says Paul Nard. He's all right. That was more self-defense. And Castillo's ahead, 3 balls and a strike. Need some base runners here. There is some action in the Giant bullpen. 3-1. He's got a piece of it. Diamondback Live postgame show follows our ball game here. Jody Jackson will have a reaction from the clubhouse. Diamondbacks, if they drop this one, will have lost 10 straight series to the Giants here at Chase Field. 3-2 pitch. Castillo strikes out. 1 down. So here's Yasmani Tomas to hit for Oliver Perez.
Number 24, Yasmani Tomas.
Romo's done that a few times in his career. Tomas 306 and 5 homers. And his batting average, that 306 mark, the lowest it's been since May 16th. He was 0 for 6 last night, struck out 3 times. Another front door slider in there for a strike. He's had him out in front all night long.
We know Romo throws a lot of sliders, but they're not all the same. There's subtle differences. There are times he'll get on top of the ball a little bit more, have some downward movement on the slider. Other times he'll get around the side of it and throw a big flat frisbee slider that breaks from one side of the plate to the other. He'll change speeds on that slider.
Two down.
Slider that time, started it off the plate inside, dropped it in there on the corner.
I guess when you essentially only throw one pitch, Certainly it's his primary pitch. You got to mix up location, speed, that type of thing. Trying to get right-hand hitters to chase, sometimes come inside like he did there in the front door. Here's Inciarte, a couple of hits. 2 down in the 9th. Duffy will come in on the grass at third. Should be a good one tomorrow. Patrick Corbin and Madison Bumgarner in the series finale. Ender not ready to go home yet. Drops one in the gap. And that rolls all the way to the wall. Inciarte will stop at second. His 12th double and his 3rd hit tonight.
Ball down and out over the plate. Nice hitting by Inciarte just to stay on that ball, hit it the other way. Don't try to pull it and probably end up a ground ball to the right side to end the game. Instead, he's at second base in scoring position with a double.
And you got A.J. Pollock coming up. He has walked and singled. He's 1 for 3. That might have been a fastball.
Yeah, 86. We've seen him up to 88. I mean, he'll sneak one in there from time to time, but rarely is it in the strike zone. It's more just a pitch for the hitter to gauge speed and then never throw another one that speed again.
Well, A.J. here on his bobblehead night. Trying to keep this game alive. He drops that slider in there for a strike again through the front door, and it's 1-1. Corbin tomorrow versus Mad Bum. A couple of pretty good lefties. One and 2. Garcia will work last night. Ready just in case. He stopped throwing down there. Bruce Bochy's team trying to win its 5th straight. Giants haven't won 5 in a row in nearly 2 months. They've been up and down all year long. They've had an 8-game losing streak. They had another 7-game losing streak. A lot of injuries, but now in position to make it 5 straight wins here. Diamondbacks will look to Corbin tomorrow to avoid the series sweep after getting swept to close out the first half in New York over the last weekend. 1 and 2 to Pollock. After the Giants are here, the Marlins are in for 3 starting Monday, then 4 against the Brewers to close out the 10-game homestand beginning Thursday night. Old friend Gerardo Parra will be back in town.
Craig Counsell.
Parra's having a nice year, just about top 10 in the league in hitting. 1 and 2 to Pollock. Popped him up. Posey behind the plate. And the Giants clinch another series win. They take this one 8-4. And the Diamondbacks have now dropped 5 in a row. 42 and 47 puts them 5 under 500.
A little bit cleaner ball game tonight, but just too much to overcome. Chase Anderson really struggling in the early going tonight. Gave up 10 hits and 7 runs in 3 2/3. Just too much of a hill to climb tonight.
So they'll look to Patrick Corbin tomorrow against Madison Bumgarner to salvage the series finale. And the Giants have now won 5 in a row. They have won 10 straight series here at Chase Field. Diamondback Live postgame show begins now. Here's Jody Jackson. Jody.
That's right, Steve. Thanks so much. We'll have a full reaction and analysis to this game tonight, as you're right, the Giants win this series, and the Diamondbacks have now lost 5 in a row. So your postgame show coming your way in just a bit. We'll talk about that. Chase Anderson struggling tonight. Again, that relationship also with Oscar Hernandez, who made his Major League debut tonight, as it was Star Wars night here at Chase Field. A lot of fun as far as the costumes go and the flavor in the ballpark. A pair of home runs for the D-backs tonight from Peralta and Pennington, but the Giants piled up 14 hits and 8 runs. Again, post-game show next. Analysis from Bob Brenly, Kate Longworth in the clubhouse, reaction from players, and we'll hear from the manager, Chip Hale. It's all coming up next here on Fox Sports Arizona.